Chapter 562. Mr. Lon was very confident in the culinary skills of his family's chef. He felt that even if Hua Qinhuan's family had a private chef, the culinary skills would definitely not be as good as his family's. Yin Xiaoran and Lan Minghan, the only two people who knew Su Yiyin's true identity, had a subtle expression when they heard his words. The chef's culinary skills were indeed not that good, but the host's cooking was not only good, but the food at home might not be good enough. Lan Jia was kept in the dark from the beginning to the end, stupidly waiting for Su Yiyin and Yin Xiaoran to come over. He didn't know why, but he had a good impression of this aunt. Maybe it was because they had a common idol. Idol? No, you're really thinking too much. It was almost 11 o'clock when Su Yiyin arrived at the Lan family's house. Although the Lan family tried their best to act natural, they didn't want the two to be too restrained. But when they saw the two, especially when they saw Hua Qinhuan, their eyes suddenly lit up, betraying their true feelings at the moment. You. Mr. Lon had already forgotten the script he had prepared before, trembling as he reached out his hand to point at Hua Qinhuan. Hua Qinhuan's eyes quickly flashed with a trace of emotion. He took the initiative to hold the old man's slightly rough hand and whispered, "Uncle Lon, I'm all better." Mr. Lan's eyes reddened because of his words. He patted his hand and said, "It's good that you're all better. You're still young, and there are many good days waiting for you in the future. You're all good, all good." It was just a few sentences, but they were the old man's most sincere blessings. Hua Qinhuan's eyes were more warm. Old Madame Lan also held her husband's other hand and complained, "It's rare for the children to come. Why don't you bring them in to sit? Why are you standing at the door?" Mr. Lon seemed to wake up from a dream. Yes. I was so happy that I forgot. Come on, let's go in quickly." The old man was about to pull Hua Qinhuan into the house. Hua Qinhuan did not refuse. With one hand held by the old man, she pulled Su Yiyin into the house with her other hand. Yin Xiaoran and Yin Xiaoran naturally noticed Su Yiyin, who was following behind Hua Qinhuan, as well as the thermos in her hand. "What is Auntie carrying? Such a big box, it's quite cumbersome." Upon hearing her question, Su Yiyin immediately exchanged a knowing smile with her. "I heard that Jia's appetite hasn't been good recently, and that you've been feeling nauseous, so I specially asked a skilled chef to make some food. I don't know if it's to your liking." Yin Xiaoran's eyes lit up, and the way she looked at the thermos changed. Lan Minghan was also a little excited. After the birthday banquet, his wife told him about Su Yiyin's identity and asked him to keep it a secret for the time being. After hearing this, Lan Minghan finally understood why Su Yiyin could take out such a big ginseng to give to his grandparents. Lan Minghan had a good impression of this benefactor who had indirectly helped him and his wife to have a crystallization of their love so quickly and had previously helped them solve their grandmother's appetite problem. When he heard that there was something inside that could make his wife feel better, he hurriedly took it eagerly. He even pretended to decline. "You're too polite. Just come. You didn't have to bring anything." "Su Yiyin, you say that, but don't accept things so quickly. Read the latest chapter of the male lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free." Chapter 563. Mr. Lon and the others did not know about Su Yiyin, so they did not have much of a reaction. However, no matter what, it was still Su Yiyin's kind intentions. Moreover, the ginseng that Su Yiyin gave to old Master Lon during his birthday celebration still made them sigh with emotion. They did not stop Yin Xiaoran and her husband from accepting it. Seeing that Lan Minghan took the things, Mrs. Lon said, "Just in time. It's getting late. Let's have a meal first. If there's anything else, we can talk about it later." Yin Xiaoran and her husband were very curious about the things in the box, so naturally, they did not have any objections. Su Yiyin and her husband were guests. Since the host had spoken, they naturally had no objections. The group moved to the dining table in the inner room. There were many people in the Lan family, and they basically lived together, so the dining table was especially big. The two oldest elders sat at the main seat, followed by Mr. and Mrs. Lon. Hua Qinhuan and her husband were guests, so they sat on the other side. Logically speaking, Lan Minghan and his wife should sit below Mr. and Mrs. Lan, followed by Lan Jiaye. However, Yin Xiaoran was thinking about the things in the thermos box, so she did not think much and sat beside Su Yiyan. Lan Minghan was the kind of person who would sit wherever his wife was. He followed her and sat beside his wife. Lan Jiaye was a little late. When he realized that there were no more seats beside Su Yiyan, he was stunned for a moment before sitting beside Mrs. Lan. He was a little confused about his brother and sister-in-law's friendliness towards Su Yiyan. Mrs. Lan was also very surprised when she saw this scene. She smiled faintly and asked, "When did Xiaoran and Su Yiyan become so close?" After asking, she realized that she was a little rude. Before she could do anything to remedy it, she heard Su Yiyan laugh and say, "Xiaoran chatted with me during Uncle Lan's birthday celebration. Coincidentally, my aunt is pregnant, so she has some common topics with Xiaoran. Unconsciously, we talk more." When everyone heard her words, they suddenly realized that the best topic to get this woman closer was definitely children. Although Su Yiyan herself did not have any children, her relatives did. Moreover, they were very close relatives. Naturally, she had common topics with Yin Xiaoran, and it was easy for them to become familiar with each other. A group of people thought that they had seen through the truth, but little did they know that Yin Xiaoran was still in a daze. Before Su Yiyan spoke, she did not even know that the other party's aunt was pregnant, let alone discuss this matter with her. However, on second thought, Su Yiyan often used the excuse of someone in my family is not in good health and needs to be nourished during her live stream to create medicinal cuisine for related illnesses. Come to think of it, the medicinal cuisine he drank back then was made for this aunt, and she just so happened to be pregnant? Mrs. Lan had been in a good mood recently because her son and daughter-in-law were pregnant. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, her eyes lit up. "Your aunt is pregnant too?" "Yes, it's been more than 8 months. It's already been more than 8 months. Isn't she about to give birth?" "Yes, the expected date of delivery is about a month away. Chenhuan and I are planning to go over in a few weeks. There are a few people over there, and my aunt is not old. The two of us can help take care of her when we go over so that they won't be in a mess when the time comes." Mrs. Lan understood and nodded. She agreed and said, Of course. It's already hard to be pregnant, and it's even harder to give birth. At this time, if there are more relatives around to help, she will suffer less and her mood will be much better. Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 564. Although other people could not help with childbirth, the family-roused concern was always useful at times like this. At least it would let the person who was struggling to give birth know that there were so many people around her who supported her and cared for her. When she gave birth, she would have more hope in her heart and be able to persevere. Su Yiyan smiled. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and casually said, "The 2 dishes I brought for Xiaoran today were also eaten by my aunt before. When she was pregnant, she stayed at my house for a period of time. A few months ago, she did not have much of an appetite. She would vomit after eating, vomit again and again. After that, she finally felt better after eating these 2 dishes. Most pregnant women would experience morning sickness a few months before pregnancy. Qin Shuer's morning sickness was quite severe before, but she happened to be in the Su family at that time. Su Yiyan helped to nurse her back to health for a period of time, and there was no problem after that. Yin Xiaoran's morning sickness came later. It only started when she was almost 5 months pregnant. The child was already grown up. Compared to Qin Shueru, it was definitely more difficult for her. Everyone in the Lan family was slightly stunned. They subconsciously looked at the 2 dishes in front of Yin Xiaoran. Su Yiyan made her orange peel plum chicken and papaya stewed pork tripe. 1 dish and 1 soup. The quality of the insulated box was very good. When the soup and dishes were taken out, they were still steaming hot. The faint fragrance of the dishes also drifted into the noses of the roused present. At this time, the table was basically filled with cold dishes and desserts. When these 2 dishes were taken out, they were a little outstanding. The roused of the Lan family were a little dazed. However, they still remembered that these were for pregnant women. No matter how greedy they were, they could not snatch them away. Su Yiyin and Hua Chenwan were used to eating the dishes at home, so they were calm. They picked up the dessert that they had eaten at the birthday banquet and took a bite. After confirming the taste, they directly fed the rest to Hua Chenwan. Hua Chenwan was already used to being fed. She did not even think before putting it into her mouth and eating it quickly. The Lan family members who witnessed this scene, what was this thing that was so dazzling that it almost blinded them? It was only then that Su Yiyin realized that they weren't in their own house. Her hand movements stiffened, and a slight blush appeared on her face. Seemingly seeing Su Yiyin's embarrassment, Mrs. Lan took the initiative to start a conversation. Yin Yin, do you like children? Su Yiyin subconsciously glanced at the person beside him and whispered, I like her. Then the two of you will have to work harder to return to school. Su Yiyin blushed, but Hua Chenhuan held her hand and replied with a smile, We will. This fellow had no sense of shame in front of so many people. Su Yiyin glared at him angrily. She didn't know that in the eyes of the crowd, the two of them were harmonious and had a good relationship. While they were talking, the hot dishes were finally served. The Lan family chef was very good at making desserts, but when it came to hot dishes, the heat control was slightly lacking. However, compared to the high-class restaurants outside, it was considered very good. Su Yiyin and Mrs. Lan had eaten breakfast before coming, so they weren't particularly hungry. Most of the time, they just ate a little symbolically. On the contrary, Yin Xiaoran, who didn't have a good appetite before this and suffered every time she ate, had a much better appetite after eating the orange pickled plum chicken. Not only did she enjoy the two dishes that Su Yiyin brought, but she also ate a lot of the dishes that the chef at home made, which made the family overjoyed. Xiaoran, your appetite is much better today. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 565. Yin Xiaoran looked up at everyone and smiled. This plum chicken is sweet and sour. It's very appetizing. The soup tastes good too. How do you feel now? Do you want to throw up? Although Mama Lan was happy, it wasn't like she hadn't experienced such a situation before. She ate it, but then spat it all out. Yin Xiaoran shook her head. She felt better than ever. No, my stomach feels warm and comfortable. I don't want to throw up at all. Unlike before, when he started to feel nauseous after eating it, he felt uncomfortable all over. Everyone in the Lan family was overjoyed. They were worried that Yin Xiaoran couldn't eat well these days. Seeing her poor appetite, Jirong thought of the hawthorn that Lan Jia got from Su Yiyin. At that time, Su Yiyin gave him a big box and told him not to eat too much at once or too often. If he couldn't finish it in a short time, he could dry it and store it. The effect would be similar when he made tea. For this reason, they dried a lot of hawthorn in the sun in case of an emergency. Seeing Yin Xiaoran like that, they wanted to give it to her immediately. However, Lan Jia, who had been to the restaurant several times, told them that pregnant women couldn't eat hawthorn. The only way was blocked. They were already thinking about whether they should use Lan Jia's identity as a senior viewer and the friendship between the Lan and Hua families to ask for it shamelessly. However, they didn't expect Su Yiyin to come first. It was like a pillow sent to them when they were sleepy. Mrs. Lan's eyes lit up. She wanted to ask Su Yiyin about the two ingredients. Yin Yin, these two dishes, before she could finish, Lan Jia interrupted. Annie, why do these two dishes look a bit like the ones in the streamer's restaurant? It was normal for Lan Jia to have this suspicion. Before this, almost no one would use tangerine peel to cook. It was the same for papaya. Many people only used it as a fruit. Only in the streamer's live broadcast room would they use it to make delicious dishes. Su Yiyin was stunned by his question. After he reacted, he quickly organized his words. Ahem, you guessed right. These dishes are indeed the ones in the streamer's restaurant. Lan Jia's eyes narrowed as he exclaimed, Then how did you bring the food out? Traditional Chinese medicine had always been particular about prescribing the right medicine for each patient, and it was the same for medicinal cuisine. Different people and different situations required different things to eat, so the amount of Chinese herbs added was also different. Just like the person who had been bribed to slander their shop, he secretly took out the food that should have been eaten by him and gave it to others. Fortunately, his mother's illness was more serious than his. His portion of medicine was considered to be on the lighter side, so she didn't have any problems. If the dosage was too heavy, who knew if there would be problems after eating it? Would they really blame it on them? Therefore, after that incident, the employees in the store became even more vigilant and did not allow anyone to take the medicinal cuisine out of the store. How could Lan Jia not be surprised when he saw what was in Su Yiyin's shop? The way Lan Jia looked at Su Yiyin right now was as if he was looking at a bad student who didn't abide by the rules and secretly brought the exam papers out of the examination hall. Su cheating bad student, Su Yiyin. Well, Su Yiyin rolled his eyes and muttered, "Your uncle is the supreme VIP of the restaurant. Of course, he has some privileges that others don't have." Hua Chenhuan suddenly remembered what Su Yiyin had said to him when he went to the medicinal cuisine restaurant for the first time. His eyes suddenly became deep. Read the latest chapter of the male protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 566. Supreme VIP. Lan Jia was stunned. Then his face flushed with excitement. There's a VIP in the restaurant? What are the conditions? I want to have one too. Lan Minghan and the rest pricked up their ears. VIP? They wanted to have one too. Conditions? Su Yiyin glanced at Hua Chenhuan, a teasing smile on her lips. You probably need some nepotism. Lan Jia. Nepotism? Was it the nepotism he was thinking of? He felt that something was amiss. Lan Minghan and his wife, who knew the truth. We want to eat this dog food. This. Although Madame Lan didn't know the inside story, she could tell that Hua Chenhuan had connections. She wanted to ask him for help, but she was too embarrassed to ask. Su Yiyin could tell what she was thinking and smiled faintly. Xiaoran, if you still want to eat more, let Chenhuan inform them. It's not good for your body to get sick of the same food. Next time, let them change to something else and see which suits Xiaoran's taste better. The Lan family's eyes lit up, but they were worried that it would bring unnecessary trouble to Hua Chenhuan and Lan Jia. Will that be too much trouble for you? No, before I learned these two dishes, I discussed it with the staff in the restaurant. Their restaurant only serves 200 people at a time. It's okay to add one more person for Chenhuan's sake. Su Yiyin glanced at Yin Xiaoran and lowered her eyes to hide her emotions. She didn't want to make trouble for herself, but Yin Xiaoran's health wasn't good. In the test report that Lan Jia gave her, there were some problems with a few indicators. It wasn't obvious now, but when it got bigger, Su Yiyin was worried that she would have gestational hypertension or anemia. Although she had only met them twice, Su Yiyin could tell that this family was really good. The parents were kind, the couple was happy, and the children were filial. Most importantly, he had once extended a helping hand to Hua Chenhuan and treated him as one of his own. In her previous life, she had been by Hua Chenhuan's side. She had never seen him looking for the Lan family, nor had she heard any news about the Lan family. Was it because he did not want to involve them, or had the Lan family been in the same situation as the Chung family? Because of the plot, although the elders were embarrassed to trouble Hua Chenhuan and her husband, they still felt sorry for them. After hesitating for a moment, he asked for help with a solemn expression. Then I'll have to trouble you. Hua Chenhuan glanced at his wife, who had pushed him out to take the blame. He smiled and said, "It's nothing. You're welcome." Because of this, the distance between them was shortened a lot. It reminded the elders and Hua Chenhuan of the time when his parents were still alive. The two families often gathered together like this. Unfortunately, the affairs of the world were unpredictable. Things remained the same, but people had changed. Lan Jia, on the other hand, was extremely curious about Su Yiyin. Auntie, is Uncle Hua really related to the streamer? They kind of know each other, right? Annie, have you seen the streamer in person? What does she look like? Is she beautiful? Annie. Lan Jia was like a sparrow, chirping nonstop around Su Yiyin. The corners of Su Yiyin's mouth twitched. Just as she was wondering how to deal with this crazy fan, Hua Chenhuan interrupted, "Yes, I know her. I've seen her in person. She's very beautiful." Lan Jiaye, Lan Minghan, and his wife. They wanted to kick this dog food over. Chapter 567. Hua Chenhuan glanced at Lan Jiaye obnoxiously. Is there anything else you want to ask? Lan Jiaye felt a chill run down his spine, and he immediately cowered. No, he could still tease Su Yiyin, who was about the same age as him and looked kind and amiable. However, he was terrified of this person who had once stripped him of his pants, thrown him into a dog kennel, and caused him to be chased by dogs for a few rounds. He was even bitten in the butt. Forget it, he couldn't afford to offend her. When everyone saw Lan Jiaye's reaction, they were reminded of the funny things that had happened between the two of them, and they burst into laughter. Su Yiyin had no idea what was going on, and she looked confused. This brat has never been afraid of anything. I'm afraid the only person he's afraid of is Chenhuan. What kind of logic is that? What did Chenhuan do to him? You don't know, but Chenhuan often came to our house with his parents. At that time, Lan Jiaye struggled desperately, hoping that his mother would be merciful and save his last bit of face in front of Su Yiyin and his sister-in-law. Unfortunately, his mother didn't receive his brainwaves at all. She said excitedly, "There are no outsiders here, so what's wrong with that? Yin Yin, I'll tell you, this brat loves to cause trouble. When he was 5 or 6 years old, he was even more hated by people and dogs. Only Chenhuan could control him." After that, Lan Jiaye's mother betrayed her son without any hesitation, and she boasted about the funny things that had happened between the two of them. Lan Jiaye, who had been dealt a heavy blow by his mother and was forced to be publicly executed, slumped in his chair. He spat out a mouthful of bubbles, and his face was full of despair. Why on earth did he have to be so stupid as to provoke this demon and his wife? Was he too arrogant, or was this devil too weak to lift a knife? Su Yiyin listened with great interest. When Hua Chenhuan had gone to her house last time, her mother had also told her many embarrassing things. It was only fair that she heard it now. As he listened, Su Yiyin couldn't help but sigh. So, you're just an old man. She thought that no matter how mature this guy was now, he must have done something embarrassing that she could use to make fun of him. In the end, after listening to half of the story, it turned out to be about his heroic achievements in dealing with naughty children. Su Yiyin felt that she had reason to suspect that Mama Lan was intentionally biased towards her and was not telling her the truth. Hua Chenhuan, why was he being old again? Feeling that he had been implicated, he narrowed his eyes dangerously and decided to personally prove whether he was old or not tonight. After the meal, the Lan family's attitude towards the two of them was finally not as reserved as before. Before she left, she even gave them a big bag full of things to take home. Su Yiyin and Su Yiyin could not refuse, so they could only accept it. Before getting into the car, Mama Lan even talked to Su Yiyin alone. Taking advantage of this, Lan Minghan moved closer to Hua Chenhuan and reminded him, "I heard from a friend that the news of your recovery has spread abroad." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. Lan Minghan didn't know if he understood what he meant, so he added tentatively, "Sister Song is also abroad." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment, and his eyes drifted to Su Yiyin. He smiled and said, "It's okay. It won't change anything even if she doesn't come back." Chapter 568. Lan Minghan was a little startled, and then he smiled. "I was worrying for nothing. I wish you and your aunt have a baby soon and grow old together." Hua Chenhuan glanced at him and said in a low voice, "Thank you." He didn't know if she was thanking him for his blessing or for his reminder. When they got home, Su Yiyin was still a little excited. She showed off the gift that Mrs. Lan gave her before she left to Hua Chenhuan. "Look, sister-in-law gave me a gift." Hua Chenhuan smiled and grabbed her hand. "What gift?" "I don't know. It was specially prepared for me. She asked me to see it when I got home." Hua Chenhuan raised his eyebrows. "So mysterious? Do you want to see it?" Although Su Yiyin was a little worried that there might be something ugly in it, she didn't intend to hide it from Hua Chenhuan. "I'll open it." Hua Chenhuan took the exquisite gift box from Su Yiyin. He opened it and was stunned. "What's this? Jade?" Su Yiyin reached out and took out the thing inside. She looked puzzled. Why is the shape of this jade a little strange? It looks like an animal. Kiran. This is a Kiran. Kiran? What does it mean? Hua Chenhuan looked at her deeply and chuckled. A Kiran, give the child. I guess she wants you to have a baby as soon as possible. Su Yiyin was stunned. She felt that the cold jade was inexplicably hot, and her face blushed. What about you? What? Do you want to have a baby as soon as possible? This was the first time that Su Yiyin asked him about this topic so seriously. Before, when they talked about this topic, most of the time, it was mostly teasing and joking. Hua Chenhuan was stunned, and then he couldn't help but reach out and touch her head. Yes and no. Su Yiyin blinked and looked confused. What do you mean? Don't you like children? I do, but... Yin Yin, we've been married for less than a year. Yes. A thought flashed through Su Yiyin's mind. She raised her head and looked at him. Are you reluctant to leave the two of us alone? Hua Chenhuan's thoughts were exposed. Her ears turned slightly red, but her eyes didn't flinch as she stared back at him. He really couldn't bear to leave the two of them alone. Having her was his biggest dream in this life. It hadn't even been a year, and there was already another person to share his attention with. Hua Chenhuan had to admit that she was indeed a little cunning. Su Yiyin did not know whether to laugh or cry. You're even jealous of a child. You're really... Before Su Yiyin could finish her sentence, she was hugged by Hua Chenhuan. Let nature take its course. If you're pregnant, give birth to it. If not, wait patiently. Hua Chenhuan paused and said hoarsely, Yin Yin, I never thought that I would be able to have a child in this lifetime. You can think about it now. Su Yiyin hugged Hua Chenhuan's waist tightly. If you don't want to have too many children at home, we can have one. But I think two is better. It's more companionable, just like me and my brother. My brother has always doted on me and let me have my way. I'm very happy at that time. But don't worry, no matter how many children there are in the family, you'll always be number one in my heart. You're the most beautiful child in our family. Pfft. The invisible man, Si Jigu, who was driving silently in front, couldn't help but laugh. After that, he was worried that his young master would find out. So he tried hard to hold back his laughter until his face turned red, and he almost couldn't hold the steering wheel. Hua Chenhuan noticed, but did not trouble him. He just smiled helplessly and said, Do you think you're coaxing a child? Chapter 569. Su Yiyin chuckled and admitted it confidently. Aren't you a child? You're already an adult, yet you're still competing with a child. Su Yiyin rolled her eyes and asked, So what if I'm coaxing you? Don't you like it when I coax you? Hua Chenhuan's eyes darkened slightly, and she agreed without any integrity. Yes, I like it. Sima Gu was speechless. He couldn't bear to watch. After Su Yiyin finished giggling, she suddenly seemed to think of something. She frowned and was a little worried. Hua Chenhuan immediately noticed her strange behavior and asked with concern, What's wrong? After your leg recovered, I was a little worried that Hua Xiaofeng's family would come and make trouble for us. But it's been a week or two, and they haven't done anything at all. It's strange that they're so quiet. Could it be that they were scared by your sudden appearance and didn't dare to act rashly? Or were they secretly planning something and ready to cause trouble at any time? As the saying goes, one can be a thief for 1,000 days, but not a thief for 1,000 days. This family was a ticking time bomb after all. Hearing her words, Hua Chenhuan touched her head comfortingly and smiled. Don't worry, they don't have the energy to care about us now. Huh? If Su Yiyin could think of something, Hua Chenhuan naturally couldn't think of it. As early as the night before Hua Chenhuan went to the celebration, a secret email was accurately delivered to Mrs. Hua. The content of this email was intimate photos of Hua Qihan and another woman going in and out of major venues. To put it simply, Hua Qihan had an affair. He found a woman who was one round younger than him and bought a house to hide his mistress. He started a new home outside. Hua Chenhuan didn't know how Mrs. Hua would react when she received these photos, but seeing that she attended the celebration with Hua Qihan the next day, she knew that she either didn't believe it or believed it, but didn't dare to fall out with Hua Qihan. But it doesn't matter. If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. Even if Mrs. Hua didn't believe him, he had ways to make her believe him. In the following week, Hua Chenhuan asked people to send Mrs. Hua a copy of Hua Qihan's intimate photos and even videos of Hua Qihan and the actress. Hua Qihan was probably very impatient with his wife and his son, Hua Xiaofeng. He spent most of the week staying at the woman's house on the pretext that he was busy with work. Mrs. Hua had always felt that his attitude towards her had been a little strange recently. Now, he was not resisting her so frequently. Coupled with those photos and videos, it was a catalyst. Just 2 days ago, Mrs. Hua finally couldn't hold back and secretly went to the Hua Corporation to follow Hua Qihan. She found Hua Qihan's house outside and confirmed the authenticity of the photos and videos. Hua Furan was still a little afraid of Hua Qihan. Moreover, it was deeply ingrained in his mind that cheating was a sin. She didn't choose to rush in and argue with Hua Qihan. Instead, she left in a trance. After confirming that Hua Qihan had gone to work the next day, she ran alone to find the mistress. Hua Qihan's mistress was called Xue Xiaoyu. She was young, beautiful, and particularly delicate. In her early 30s, she wasn't particularly young, but she had the mature temperament of a woman that young people didn't have. Mrs. Hua knocked on the door and saw her. She was so angry that her nose was crooked and she slapped her. Xue Xiaoyu didn't expect Mrs. Hua to hit her at all. She was caught off guard and her face swelled. Chapter 570. Mrs. Hua did not intend to let her go. She reached out to grab her head again. Fortunately, the nanny in the apartment heard the noise and rushed out to rescue the mistress. She temporarily stopped Mrs. Hua. Xue Xiao was also very angry after being slapped for no reason. She immediately called the security guard outside the apartment to ask for help. After that, she called Hua Qihan and cried that she had been slapped by a strange woman for no reason. Hua Qihan heard that and immediately left his work to rush over. In the end, when he arrived at the scene, he saw the face of his mistress, who had a handprint on her face. She was cowering behind the security door and crying. His first wife stood at the door and cursed loudly. She even struggled to throw herself at her lover. The 2 security guards in front of her could not hold her back. Hua Qihan's dark face suddenly darkened. He stepped forward to grab Hua Furio's hand and scolded her angrily. "What are you doing here?" Mrs. Hua was stunned. When she realized what was going on, she even reached out to grab Hua Qihan. "You asked me what I'm doing here? You still have a nerve to ask me what I'm doing here? Who is that woman? You know better than me who this woman is. You're looking for her outside, and you still have the nerve to ask me why I'm here?" Hua Qihan's appearance was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. It made Mrs. Hua go crazy. Hua Qihan was criticized by Mrs. Hua in front of so many people. His face became uglier and uglier, and his guilt toward Hua Furio faded a lot. He glanced around with a dark face. Seeing that the 2 security guards were still there, he simply pulled Mrs. Hua into the house. The door was closed, leaving the nanny outside to deal with the security guards. Xue Xiao was also shocked when she saw Hua Qihan pull her in. She hurriedly stepped back a few steps to distance herself from the crazy woman. As soon as Mrs. Hua entered the house and saw Xue Xiao, she struggled and was about to rush over again. Hua Qihan stopped her. "Enough!" Mrs. Hua was shocked by the roar. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but Xue Xiao's eyes were red. She cried pitifully, "Brother Han." His shout angered Mrs. Hua again. "Why are you calling me brother? He can even be your father. You rely on your youth and beauty to become a mistress. How can you be so shameless? Are you done?" Hua Qihan's expression finally eased a little because her words had darkened again. Xue Xiao took good care of herself. She not only had a young appearance, but also a mature woman. Therefore, within a few months, he fell in love with her tenderness and couldn't get up. It was true that he liked young women, but that didn't mean that he liked people mocking him based on his age or appearance. At this moment, Hua Qihan's disgust for Hua Fulao almost reached its peak, and the last bit of guilt in his heart disappeared. Mrs. Hua was pushed by him and staggered. When she finally stood firm, she couldn't help but want to scream. "Are you done? I'm your wife, your nominal other half. Now you're yelling at me for this woman outside." Xue Xiao hid behind Hua Qihan and looked frightened by Hua Fulao's loud voice. Brother Han, it's okay. Hua Qihan's heart suddenly softened, and his attitude toward Hua Fulao became more impatient. Do you know what you look like now? You're yelling outside and yelling inside. You're a shrew. Chapter 571. The word shrew irritated Mrs. Hua. Do you think I'm a shrew now? Why didn't you think I was a shrew when you married me? That's because I was blind. I didn't see you clearly. Hua Qihan suppressed dissatisfaction during this period of time gushed out because of Mrs. Hua's question. I used to think that you were gentle and magnanimous. Even if you couldn't help me with my business, at least you could let me have no worries about my family. And the result? You're as stupid as a pig. You only know how to yell when you're in trouble. You have no manners at all. No wonder you raised such a good-for-nothing son. He's a disgrace to me. Mrs. Hua was already angry. She didn't expect Hua Qihan to mention their son at this time, and in such a tone. This reminded her of the day when Hua Xiaofeng was injured and hospitalized. Hua Qihan was also indifferent. He didn't stay to take a good look at his son before he left. Could it be that at that time, he was already thinking of this? Hua Fu's anger rushed to his head again. Son? Xiaofeng is my son. Isn't he your son? You despise him now? Who was the one who flaunted him around like a treasure in the early years? Half of Xiaofeng's genes are yours. He's a good-for-nothing. Isn't it because he has a useless father? You what? Any man couldn't stand a woman calling herself a good-for-nothing, especially a male chauvinist like Hua Qihan. He was also angry at the moment. He pointed at Mrs. Hua and scolded, Don't forget who raised you all these years. You, a parasite raised by me for more than 20 years, have the nerve to call me a good-for-nothing. You're worse than a good-for-nothing. Hua Qihan, you bastard. Hua Qihan didn't want to talk to her anymore. He pointed at the door and shouted, I've had enough. You're an unreasonable shrew. Get out of here now. I'll ask my secretary to send you the divorce certificate. Sign it immediately. We'll divorce. Divorce. Xue Xiaofeng, who was hiding behind Hua Qihan, heard this and her eyes lit up. She couldn't help but smile. Divorce? Mrs. Hua's vision went dark when she heard those two words. She couldn't help but tremble. This man wanted to divorce her? They had been husband and wife for more than 20 years. In the end, she was scolded as a shrew. Her son was incompetent. This man wanted to divorce her for a woman outside? Why? Hafro's face twisted for a moment, especially when he saw the smile on Xue Xiao's face. He lost his last bit of rationality. You want to divorce me? Let me tell you, no. Back then, you were the one who begged me to marry you. Now that you have another woman, you want to kick me aside? Let me tell you, it's easier to invite the devil, says divorce Mises, and tease a woman t-s-e-z-s. T-t-s-des. S-m, s-habs-t-s-tab, t-hua, s-s-s-s-s-s-a-s-to-s-hua-hua-hua, s-huas. Hua Qihan reacted quickly. He grabbed Hua Fu's and pushed him away. Mrs. Hua staggered. When she was about to step forward, she heard Xue Xiaofeng's loud cry. Child, Brother Han. Child, my stomach hurts. Chapter 572. Mrs. Hua was shocked and looked at the woman sitting on the ground in disbelief. She just had a child? Whose child was it? This woman was pregnant with her husband's child? Mrs. Hua missed the opportunity because she was too shocked. When Hua Qian heard that something had happened to his child at an old age, he did not bother to argue with Mrs. Hua. He picked up Xue Xiao and ran out. When he passed by Mrs. Hua opened her mouth to speak, but Hua Qihan knocked her away. Her stomach hit the cabinet at the side, and her face turned pale with pain. All the things that happened in the family Hua were reported by the informants that Hua Qinhuan had placed around the family Hua. Su Yiyan was a little confused when she learned about it. Hua Qihan cheated and had a child with another woman? Mrs. Hua almost aborted the child when she went to catch them in the act. Now Hua Qihan wants to divorce her? It's really a big show. Hua Qinhuan looked at his wife's expression that said, What a pity that I wasn't there. She couldn't help laughing. What happened later? Did the child in your wife's belly survive? Almost. Of course it survived. But I suspect. What? That woman must have deliberately fallen. Deliberately fell? Su Yin was stunned for a moment and soon understood Hua Chenhuan's meaning. You mean that the woman deliberately faked the fall to frame Mrs. Hua, so as to provoke the conflict between Hua Qihan and his wife? It's possible. That's too cruel. What if it's really gone? Hua Chenhuan's eyes were cold, and she sneered. This child is her hope of entering the family Hua. She won't be so careless. Even if it's really gone, who do you think Hua Qihan will hate? Of course, it's Mrs. Hua. Su Yin couldn't help but feel a little cold. In order to win Hua Qihan's affection, in order to enter the family Hua, she would even use her own flesh and blood. Rao's bottom line was always lower than you could imagine. Every time you felt that what you had seen and heard was shocking enough, there would always be someone or something that would further refresh your understanding of human nature. No wonder they didn't have time to find trouble with us. Their family is probably in a state of chaos right now, right? I really want to see it with my own eyes. It must be very exciting. Su Yin seemed to have thought of something and sneered, but if we really want to think about it, a crooked stick will have a crooked shadow. Hua Xiaofeng is like this, and his father is also like this. Now that his father divorced his mother for the sake of those three, he, the former young master of the family Hua, will probably be kicked out of the house along with his mother. I wonder how he feels right now. Thinking of the chaotic situation the family Hua was in, Su Yin couldn't help but chuckle. It was really satisfying. He's really not doing well now. Su Yin snorted coldly and said sarcastically, his father cheated on his mother, divorced his mother, kicked them out of the house, and even gave birth to a younger brother for him. How can he be doing well? It's not just because of this. Su Yin was stunned, and then her eyes lit up. Is there anything else? What else is there? Hurry up. Hua Chenhuan's lips curled slightly, and her eyes were full of gloating. He encountered the same thing as his mother. The same thing as his mother. Didn't his mother just... Su Yin's words suddenly got stuck in her throat, and her eyes widened in disbelief. You mean Hua Xiaofeng was cheated on? Chapter 573. Hua Chenhuan met Su Yin's excited eyes and couldn't help but pat her head. Yes, he's been cheated on. Su Yin was still very shocked. The world's female lead had cheated on the world's male lead. Although the female lead in the original novel was a flirtatious butterfly who flirted with the supporting male leads everywhere and had a lot of spare tires, she didn't really cheat on the male lead. Now that Hua Chenhuan had said so, it was highly likely that the woman had already made the Green Man a reality. What's going on? Who did Wen Jingping hook up with this time? Does Hua Xiaofeng know about this? Hua Chenhuan didn't directly answer Su Yin's first few questions. Instead, he chose to answer the last one. I don't know yet. After today, I'll know. Su Yin glanced at him in surprise, her face full of doubt. As if to prove Hua Chenhuan's words, Hua Xiaofeng finally removed the cast on his hand in the afternoon. Looking at his fingers, which were much less sensitive than before, his face was so gloomy that it could drip water. At this time, his mother ran in crying from outside. There was a bright red handprint on her face. Although Hua Xiaofeng was a scumbag and self-righteous, he still cared a lot about his mother who had always doted on him. Seeing this, Hua Xiaofeng's face suddenly changed. He hurried to Mrs. Hua and said angrily, "Mom, what's wrong with you? Who hit you?" Mrs. Hua had completely lost her backbone. She hugged her son and burst into tears. Hua Xiaofeng didn't know what had happened. He hugged her and comforted her for a while. Mrs. Hua finally calmed down a little. She looked at her son and wanted to say something, but stopped. Hua Xiaofeng had already lost his patience. He said anxiously, "What's going on? Who hit you? Hurry up. I'm here. I'll help you vent your anger." Mrs. Hua heard him and became even sadder. Fortunately, she still had a son. She still had hope. Otherwise, it's your father. My dad. Hua Xiaofeng was shocked. Why will my dad hit you? Hua Xiaofeng seemed to have hit a switch, causing Hafureo's face to twist. That's right. Why would he hit me? Of course, it's because he already has another woman outside and doesn't want to live a peaceful life with me anymore. Another woman? This sentence was like a blow to Hua Xiaofeng's head, hammering him into a daze. Mom, did you misunderstand Dad? How could he? What misunderstanding? I saw it with my own eyes. He bought a house outside to live with that woman. He didn't go home recently because he was accompanying that be asterisk TCH. That woman is already pregnant with his child. It's been more than a month. They must have hooked up a long time ago. What kind of misunderstanding could there be? Mrs. Hua's eyes were red. She couldn't help but grit her teeth at the thought of that woman. She had thought that Hua Qihan's affair was enough to drive her crazy. Who would have thought that not only did he have another woman, but he also had a child with that woman? Thinking of how Hua Qihan had pointed at her nose and scolded her for giving birth to a useless son, Mrs. Hua understood that Hua Qihan was ready to give up on her and her son and help that mistress and her son rise to the top. Hua Xiaofeng was also stunned. For more than 20 years, he had been the only son and had always been told that he was the only heir of the Hua Corporation. The Hua Corporation would definitely be his in the future. But now, his father had found another woman outside and had another child. Then, Chapter 574. Hua Xiaofeng's face was as pale as paper. He grabbed Hua Furio's hand and asked, Mom, how could this happen? Hasn't Dad always had a good relationship with you? Why did he suddenly... Hua Xiaofeng was fine, but Hua Furio couldn't stop her tears from flowing down. Was her relationship with Hua Qihan good? Perhaps. At least in the eyes of outsiders, they had a happy family, a harmonious couple, and a son who was excellent in all aspects. But in fact, Hua Xiaofeng's character had become like this, and Hua Qihan had an unshirkable responsibility. Because he was not capable, he hated others for being incompetent. After becoming the head of the Hua group, he had lost self-awareness because of the flattery around him. He used to feel inferior, but now he was arrogant. Hua Qihan still had the nerve to say that she had given birth to a useless son for him. She saw that this useless gene came from him. Over the years, she had been able to endure this man's self-righteous chauvinism. On the one hand, it was because she had feelings for him, and he was well-behaved and never stepped on her bottom line. On the other hand, it was because his family background could bring her and her child a good life. She was reluctant and did not dare to give up such a life. But now, Hua Xiaofeng saw that she was crying and did not speak. He frowned slightly and thought carefully. Soon, he found a reasonable reason for Hua Qihan's infidelity. It must be that woman who deliberately seduced him. That woman must know who Dad is and that he has a lot of money. So she deliberately seduced him. If that was the case, that woman now had a child, which was a great threat to him. He had been driven out of the Hua group. If this woman gave birth to a son, would his father hand over the Hua group to him in the future? No, it was impossible. The Hua group was his and could only be his. He could not let this nameless, illegitimate son take away what belonged to him. What happened to Dad? He and that woman. What else? He wanted to divorce me and slap me. Shuai Xiao had been complaining about a stomachache after she fell, but in fact, it was nothing serious. Knowing that his son was fine, Hua Qihan was relieved and finally in the mood to trouble Hua Furio. He had slapped Mrs. Hua across the face the moment they met, completely destroying the last bit of extravagant hope that they had for each other. Divorce! Hua Xiaofeng exclaimed. You can't divorce her. You can't divorce her. Mrs. Hua was startled by his sudden raised voice. She stared at him blankly, not knowing what to do. Hua Xiaofeng choked. When he came back to his senses, he held Hua Fulua's hand tightly and said earnestly, Mom, you can't divorce Dad. He has another woman and another child now. Once you divorce him, he will definitely drive us out. Do you really want that woman to live in our house, use our things, and enjoy the life that originally belonged to us? Mrs. Hua pursed her lips, her eyes filled with resentment. Seeing her like this, Hua Xiaofeng continued to fan the flames. Mom, you are the rightful Mrs. Hua of the family Hua, and I am the rightful young master of the family Hua. As long as you don't divorce, you will always be the mistress of the family Hua. Who does that woman think she is? Even if she can give birth to the child, it will be an illegitimate son who can't be seen in public. But if you divorce her, we will really have nothing. It is almost like giving up everything that should belong to us to that be asterisk TCH and her son. Are you willing to accept this? Chapter 575. Hua Fuke was indignant. Just like Hua Xiaofeng, when she first married into the family Hua was already a giant. Hua Qihan's parents were not very satisfied with her. In order to marry Hua Qihan, she took the initiative to ask for a prenuptial agreement. She only married Hua Qihan after dividing the prenuptial assets. After that, Hua Qihan had never thought of giving her anything like a house or shares. This was also the reason why Mrs. Hua had a subtle expression when Su Yiyin showed off in front of them that Hua Chenhuan had transferred 10% of the Hua Corporation's shares to her. If she divorced Hua Qihan now, she would get nothing and would be kicked out of the family. Yes, I can get a divorce. As long as I don't get a divorce, I'm still Mrs. Hua. No one can kick me out. So what if that woman is pregnant? Her child was also born as an illegitimate child with no title or status. Mom, you're right to think that way. Even if it's not for me, you must not get a divorce for your own sake. But your father, what's wrong with my father? He's in the wrong for having an affair. How can he force you to get a divorce? Hua Xiaofeng's eyes flashed with ruthlessness and resentment. It's fine if you want a divorce, but let him hand over all of his assets. Otherwise, let that woman and her son be illegitimate children forever. Mrs. Hua only had Hua Xiaofeng as her backbone now. Naturally, she would do whatever he said and agreed without much struggle. Hua Xiaofeng glanced at the wound on her face and said with heartache, Mom, you should go and treat the wound on your face first. Mrs. Hua touched half of her swollen face. Her eyes reddened again. She nodded and turned to leave. After she left, Hua Xiaofeng's expression changed completely. He kicked the table beside him angrily. He had nowhere to vent his anger. Coincidentally, the things that Hua Chenhuan had sent to him arrived at the same time. Young master, there's an email for you. Mail. Hua Xiaofeng frowned. He couldn't remember who had sent him a mail at this time. Hua Xiaofeng took the mail and pinched it. It was quite thick, and there was a bulge at the bottom that looked like a round watch. Just as he tore it open, the things inside slid out, and a bunch of photos fell to the ground. Hua Xiaofeng was stunned. He squatted down and wanted to pick up the photo, but when he saw the content of the photo, his pupils shrank. There were two main characters in the photo. One of them was a man he didn't know, and the other was his girlfriend, Wen Jingping, who had disappeared after the hotel incident and hadn't come to see him until now. Hua Xiaofeng was stunned for a moment, but quickly reacted and looked at the other photos. The same two people, the same intimate actions, but with different backgrounds. At the entrance of the company, the square, the clothing store, the jewelry store, and even on the side of the road, a man and a woman were intimately holding hands or whispering in each other's ears. Just from this photo, one could see the ambiguity and sweetness between the two. Hua Xiaofeng, who had a green grassland on his head, was so angry that smoke was about to come out of his head. He threw the photo in his hand to the ground, and it hit the mini projector that had been sent with the photo. With a click, the projector was turned on, and a high-definition video was projected. In the video, the two people were whispering. The woman seemed to have heard something exciting, and she giggled. Then, the two people kissed sweetly, and it was hard to part. They were like a pair of jade. Chapter 576. This scene was like the last straw that broke the camel's back, crushing Hua Xiaofeng's last shred of rationality. He struggled to stand up and kicked the miniature projector away. The projector smashed into the wall and broke into pieces, just like Hua Xiaofeng's last bit of luck with Wen Jingping. B asterisk TCH, B asterisk TCH, B asterisk TCH. Hua Xiaofeng was so angry that he smashed everything in the room. How dare you betray me? How dare you betray me? Hua Xiaofeng felt as if the whole world was against him after suffering two critical blows in one go. Congratulations to the host for snatching the female protagonist's Goldfinger progress, +5. Current progress is 50%. The progress bar for snatching the female protagonist's Goldfinger is more than half. The progress bar for snatching the male protagonist's Goldfinger has been activated simultaneously. It is known that the host partner is the family Hua's heir, Hua Chenhuan. The world's male protagonist has officially been replaced by the young master of the Dou Enterprise, Dou Yi. The progress bar for snatching the male protagonist's Goldfinger has been activated. 3, 2, 1. The progress bar for snatching the male protagonist's Goldfinger has been activated. The progress bar is now 0. At the same time, the progress bar for snatching the female protagonist's Goldfinger has been reset to 0. Please work hard with your partner to snatch the male and female protagonist's Goldfinger as soon as possible and change your fate. Su Yiyin was shocked by the mechanical voice that suddenly popped up in her head. She was still in a daze when she heard the rest of the content. Her eyes widened in shock. What's going on? Isn't the world's male protagonist Hua Xiaofeng? What's up with this young master of the Dou Enterprise? And why is my progress bar at 0 after the progress bar for snatching the male protagonist's Goldfinger has been activated? Please calm down. The original world's male protagonist is indeed Hua Xiaofeng, but the world wishes for the female protagonist to take the lead. A minute ago, the system detected that the relationship between the female protagonist and the original male protagonist has been completely broken. The female protagonist's Goldfinger has been affected as a result. At the same time, the female protagonist has chosen the second male protagonist. Su Yiyan was stunned. You mean the appearance of the so-called male protagonist depends on the choice of the female protagonist? Yes. Su Yiyan did not know whether to laugh or be angry. You should have told me this earlier. The system was silent for a while before it spoke again. The hidden plot and hints can only be obtained by upgrading the system. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. She could tell that the answer was somewhat vague. Will you only tell me after I level up? Or will you only know after I level up? These two situations sounded similar, but in reality, they were very different. When Su Yiyan said this, the system fell silent again. Su Yiyan had no choice but to probe for more information. The latter, yes. In other words, there were some hidden plots and hints that even the system did not know about beforehand. They could only be unlocked after leveling up. Does Hua Xiaofeng being kicked out of the male lead have anything to do with him being kicked out of the Hua family? According to the world's fate, the male lead of this world must have a certain family background to better assist the female lead to reach the peak. Su Yiyan understood. Hua Xiaofeng was chosen as the male lead because he was the only heir of the family Hua group. He was the rightful eldest young master of the Hua family and would definitely inherit the Hua family in the future. However, because of her and Hua Chenhuan, these two outliers who had been suppressing him, he was kicked out of the Hua family. At the same time, Hua Chenhuan's recovery and his father's adultery meant that he was no longer the only heir of the family. He might even lose his status as the eldest young master of the family Hua. Chapter 577. His previous advantage had disappeared, and now he couldn't even protect himself, let alone rely on his status to protect the female lead and help her climb to the top. Naturally, he was abandoned. So, Hua Xiaofeng was abandoned. This Dou Yi overtook him and became the new male lead. Su Yiyan frowned so hard that she could almost squeeze a mosquito to death. When Jingping's golden finger is too big, isn't it? If the male lead can be changed at will, then what if Chen Huan worked so hard to suppress Dou until he's almost the same as Hua Xiaofeng now, and she changes the male lead, then all our previous efforts will be in vain? In game terms, this when Jingping also had her own resurrection armor? They were NPCs with only one life. How could they compete with this kind of child of life? Even if they were prepared and didn't lose their vitality, from time to time this kind of thing was enough to make them feel disgusted. The host can rest assured about this. The female lead only has one chance to change the male lead. Hearing this, Su Yiyan didn't relax, but dangerously narrowed her eyes. You seem to understand when Jingping's situation very well. The system understands the rules of the world and helps the host to challenge the rules of the world. This wasn't wrong. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you can win 100 battles. But Su Yin always felt that this so-called rule made her feel that this world's Tao was like a chess piece behind the scenes. The world they were in was just a chessboard under the opponent's hands. Whether it was her or Wen Jingping, they were all just chess pieces of the opponent. This knowledge made Su Yin feel uncomfortable, but there was nothing she could do about it. Then why did my progress bar reset to 0? Does this mean that all my previous efforts were in vain? The host's progress bar reset to 0 because the male lead's golden finger has been activated. Hua Qinhuan was originally the cannon fodder in the book. After being cured by the host, he has the qualifications to become the world's male lead. After activating the male lead's progress bar, the host progress bar will be closely related to the partnership's progress bar, achieving the same fate effect. Su Yin, it sounded quite complicated. To sum it up, it seemed like she had changed from solo ing to a two-player party. For a moment, Su Yin did not know whether to rejoice or have a headache. The system also seemed to feel that it was not very kind to suddenly throw such a big question at Su Yin. After a moment of silence, the mechanical voice suddenly sounded again. In view of the fact that the host has completed the mission of snatching the Goldfinger very well and has hardly had any direct conflicts with the male and female protagonists. For this reason, the host is specially rewarded with a piece of special information. Special information? How special is it? The system was speechless. I can't answer this question. Su Yin also felt that his question was a little silly after he asked it. He couldn't help but laugh. Forget it. I don't care how special this information is. Just hurry up. I'd like to see how many more things you're hiding from me. The system, the female lead, is not a local. Non-local? Su Yin raised her eyebrows. You mean she's not a local? The system was speechless. Su Yin's intuition told him that it couldn't be that simple. He was stunned for 2 seconds before he suddenly realized the other meaning of the system's words. Non-local means she's a transmigrator? The system was silent for a long time. Su Yin originally thought that it would not answer, but unexpectedly, it responded in the end. Yes, Su Yin. This development was a little exciting. Chapter 578. Wen Jingping is a transmigrator? When did this happen? Did she transmigrate in the original novel? Or did she change because I was reborn? Butterfly effect? As far as I know, Wen Jingping transmigrated before meeting the original male lead, Xiaofeng. She has nothing to do with the host. In other words, she had already transmigrated before the plot of the original novel began. Whether it was the original novel or the previous life, Wen Jingping was a transmigrator. Thinking of this, Su Yin could not help but feel her scalp go numb. Where did she transmigrate from? According to investigation, Wen Jingping came from the early period of the ancient Earth explosion. Ancient Earth? Su Yin was stunned. Her first reaction was Wen Jingping's cooking. So, her family does not have any ancestral recipes at all. The dishes in her live streaming room were all brought over by her transmigrating? Yes, it's only because of the enhancement of her golden finger that the dishes she makes have a certain soothing and healing effect. Unfortunately, this golden finger completely lost its effect after meeting Su Yin. In addition, she had been banned by the platform for courting disaster. Her golden finger was completely useless before it could be used. Other than this, does she have any other special golden fingers? This requires the host to explore on her own. Su Yin was speechless. What's the use of having you? Su Yin's mood was like a roller coaster. It went up and down a few times. If not for her good heart, she might have had a heart attack. When Hua Qinhuan returned, he saw her bitter and resentful expression and thought that someone had made her angry again. What's wrong? Who made you unhappy again? Knowing, Su Yin hugged Hua Qinhuan's waist and hid in his arms for comfort. She pouted and said, "Is the man who cuckolded Hua Xiaofeng called Do He? You know, I just found out. What's his background?" Hua Qinhuan patted Su Yin's head and explained in a low voice, The Dou family is considered an old aristocratic family. They specialize in the entertainment industry and high-end restaurants. Entertainment industry and high-end restaurants? These two industries could really become her nemesis at any time. The Dou family's Hai-E is an old entertainment company. It's much bigger than Dongsheng. Hai-E. Su Yiyan was stunned. She finally remembered where she heard of this name. This Dou, he was a supervillain in the latter half of the original novel. He was the heir of the old Dou family. Most importantly, he had no bottom line when it came to doing things. In his eyes, there were only two kinds of people. One was useful, and the other was useless. Once he set his eyes on something, he would obtain it no matter what price he had to pay, even if he had to resort to underhanded means. In the original novel, when Wen Jingping and he met, it was already the latter half of the plot. At that time, the two had already experienced a lot of things. Hua Xiaofeng's mind was also relatively mature. He was not like the current him who only knew how to act recklessly and self-righteously. In addition, at that time, the male and female lead Halo had already helped them swallow up the assets of several backup male supporting characters. Hua Xiaofeng had more cards in his hands than Dou Yi. Dou Yi had a conflict with the two at that time because he happened to see Wen Jingping in a drama that his family had invested in. At that time, Wen Jingping had gradually gained some fame. The main point was that she had not been repeatedly slapped in the face. She had a good reputation. Chapter 579. At that time, Dou Yi had the idea of signing Wen Jingping to his company, but he didn't treat Wen Jingping differently. What really made him obsessed with Wen Jingping was that the series of events that followed made him accidentally find out that Wen Jingping's cooking could actually alleviate his illness. In the original novel, Dou Yi suffered from a rare blood disease. This blood disease doomed him to not live long. Every time he had an attack, his whole body felt like thousands of needles and thousands of ants were biting him. It was very painful. Wen Jingping's uniqueness made him suddenly fall in love with this woman. He used all kinds of means to keep her by his side. At that time, Wen Jingping had a stable relationship with Hua Xiaofeng. Her career was stable. Of course, she didn't want to be the forbidden woman of such a lunatic. She refused him without thinking and told him that she already had a man she liked. When ordinary people heard this answer, they either gave up or pestered her. Dou Yi's idea was more straightforward and cruel. What he thought was, since you have someone you like, as long as this person dies, you won't have anyone you like. At that time, Wen Jingping filmed several dramas. She had a good relationship with Luo Weibing. Hua Xiaofeng was unhappy. He knew that there was such a person pestering Wen Jingping. When Wen Jingping mentioned him, she didn't mention his name. He deliberately led Dou Yi to mistakenly think that the person Wen Jingping liked was Luo Weibing. As a result, Luo Weibing blocked most of the attacks for him, and he had been hiding behind, reaping the benefits of the fisherman. Luo Weibing finally fell to such a miserable end. A large part of the reason was because of Dou Yi's accidental injury. Dou Yi met Wen Jingping at this time and became her boyfriend so quickly. Most likely, it was because he had discovered Wen Jingping's uniqueness and knew that she could help him relieve his illness. It was actually very easy to make such a person give up Wen Jingping. She just needed to let him know that Wen Jingping was not the only person who could alleviate his illness, and that this person was more useful to him than Wen Jingping. But Su Yiyan didn't want to use this method. The reason why she was willing to save Ning Chirui and Luo Weibing's sister and let them completely leave the plot was that these two spare tires in the original novel were not bad in nature. If they hadn't met Wen Jingping, they could have had a smooth and carefree life. They wouldn't have inexplicably broken up and killed their families. It didn't matter if they were unlucky, but they also implicated their families. Dou Yi is different. He is cruel by nature, and his mind is twisted. Helping him was tantamount to asking a tiger for its skin. In the end, not only would he not get a word of thanks from him, he might even get himself into trouble. Not to mention that he was now tied to the same boat as Wen Jingping. He was destined to bear the burden of death with them. This person is more dangerous. If it's not necessary, It's best not to contact him alone and don't have a conflict with him. It seemed that Huo Qinhuan had a general understanding of what kind of person this person was when she investigated him. Su Yiyin pursed her lips and looked worried. I'm afraid it's a bit difficult. Wen Jingping has suffered losses in the hands of Dongsheng and me several times in a row. Now she is with this man. I'm afraid she will come to trouble me. Huo Qinhuan's eyes were slightly cold and comforted her. Don't worry. If they really dare to trouble you, I will help you clean them up. Su Yiyin couldn't help laughing. Well, then I and my broken company will depend on you. Don't let them bring down my company. If my company collapses, someone will support me, but no one will support my employees. Chapter 580. Huo Qinhuan scratched her nose and teased. Now that you're saying this, I'm a little tempted. Why don't you let clothes down? I'll support you. TSK. Su Yiyin rolled her eyes at him. You're such a wastrel. Aren't you using our family's money to support me? This company is also our family's. Don't you know how much money you'll lose by flirting with me? Huo Qinhuan was amused by his wife's money-grubbing behavior. He apologized softly. It's my fault. I'll protect my wife's coffers. I promise it'll only be more, not less. That's more like it. As it turned out, Su Yiyin's worries were not unfounded. A week before she was to go to the Cheng family with Huo Qinhuan, the new male lead started to cause trouble for her company. What? You don't want to direct anymore? Wait, didn't we have a good discussion before? Why did you change your mind all of a sudden? Are you dissatisfied with the conditions I mentioned before? We can talk about all of that. Su Yiyin had just entered the company when she heard the head of the planning department talking to someone on the phone. It sounded like he was in a hurry. Me? Aya. In the end, it seemed like the discussion had broken down. The head of the planning department looked terrible. Su Yiyin's intuition told her that there was a problem. She thought for a moment and asked, what happened? Director Su. The head of the planning department was shocked and said awkwardly, it's me, who was originally going to be the executive director of Red Brave. He suddenly called and said that he can't take on the role. He wants us to find someone else. Me? Su Yiyin furrowed her brows. She wasn't familiar with directors in the industry. Previously, she had only heard that Xia Junxing's Red Brave had a special theme and a grand background. The average director wouldn't be able to handle it. It would be best to find a more professional director. In the end, they chose an old director with experience in filming-related themes. Previously, Xia Junxing had personally invited him. The negotiation went very smoothly, and there were basically no mistakes. They didn't expect that after a few days, this person would stand them up. Did you ask for the reason? It's because the filming time is too long and the intensity is too high. The elderly's body can't take it. Su Yiyin's intuition told her that it wasn't that simple. All right, I got the gist of it. You guys can continue with your work. The planning department head was originally worried that Su Yiyin would blame them for this matter, but after hearing her words, he couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. He hurriedly expressed his loyalty before sending her away. Su Yiyin went back to his office and thought about it. He still felt that there was something wrong with this matter. She had heard of this man from Xia Junxing before. He was only in his early 50s this year and should still be in good health. Moreover, Xia Junxing had personally gone to discuss the collaboration with him. It was impossible that he did not know the estimated shooting time of the script beforehand. This old man had agreed to it back then. Now that he suddenly changed his mind, there must be some other reason. Su Yiyin's intuition had saved her several times. So much so that every time she felt that something was wrong, she would have to investigate thoroughly before she could feel at ease. This time was no exception. Xia Junxing was the one who found this person. Now that there was a problem, it was naturally Xia Junxing's responsibility to investigate. Xia Junxing was also very surprised when he found out that this man had turned down the director's offer. He immediately went to find someone in the know to understand the situation. He was also very fast. The next morning, he told Su Yiyin what he had found out. You're saying that the reason he turned down this film is because he accepted another film of a similar genre. The main investor of this film is still Hai Yi. Chapter 581. That's what the feedback said. Su Yiyin rubbed her chin and thought for a moment. Do you know what the drama they're going to shoot is about? It's said to be about an empress from the Tang dynasty. Empress. As soon as Xia Juanxing's voice fell, the system spontaneously told Su Yiyin about the lost history in the River of Time. After Su Yiyin heard it, she couldn't help but sigh a little. Even now, there were still many male chauvinistic straight men who viewed women as their own accessories, not to mention in that era, where people weren't as open-minded as they were now. This empress was able to rely on her own strength to ascend to the highest throne and sit in that position for such a long time, showing her courage and means. If Hai Yi could really come up with a good script and recreate the magnificent scene of the Tang dynasty, it might really be a big hit. Of course, the premise was that they had a team and good actors who could match the script. Do you know who the male and female lead of the drama they're going to shoot is? The male lead hasn't been decided yet, but the female lead seems to be a girl called Wen Jingping. Xia Juanxing had some impression of Wen Jingping. In the variety show that their company invested in, Wen Jingping was once famous for murdering the company's artists. After that, she was blacklisted by many management companies. Who would have thought that in just a few months, she would actually climb up to Hai Yi and become a newcomer that Hai Yi was trying to promote? Xia Juanxing wasn't stupid. With Wen Jingping's identity and this sudden rejection of the director, he turned around and ran to Hai. If he really thought that these two things had nothing to do with each other, then he didn't need to continue working in this industry. Wen Jingping? Su Yiyin really didn't think that Hai Yi would not only steal their director, but also spend a lot of money for Wen Jingping, spending a huge amount of money to create a costume IP for her to debut in a high position. However, did she really have the ability to support this scheming yet domineering and independent female lead role, and could she withstand Hai Yi's strong support? Su Yiyin really wasn't sure. She narrowed her eyes and asked the system tentatively, "System, will the world's consciousness give her an acting cheat? Is the host scared?" Su Yiyin laughed. "If I was scared, I wouldn't have chosen this path." Regardless of whether the world's consciousness favored Wen Jingping at this time and gave her this ability, the most important thing was to find a director to take over their company's production. Do you have any idea who you're going to get to take over this show? Xia Juanxing showed a difficult expression. Welcome. Is there a problem? Is the other party asking for a high price? That's not the problem. Then, Xia Juanxing hesitated for a moment, but he still told Su Yiyin the truth. There are fewer people in the industry who film period dramas, and there are even fewer who can produce good works. I do have a candidate in mind, but I'm afraid this person is not easy to invite. Su Yiyin quickly understood Xia Juanxing's meaning. Is his position very high? Yes, this director is almost in a semi-retired state. In recent years, he has only made one documentary, and he's quite old. Older than me. To be precise, he's not from the same generation, whether in terms of age or other aspects. Su Yin's eyes flashed. She felt that it was necessary to fight for this person. What's his name? Chapter 582. Xia Juanxing recommended director Luo Baogang to Su Yiyin. This director was almost 70 years old and was considered a national treasure in the industry. When this old director was young, he had filmed many enduring classics. When he was old, he was regarded as a treasure in the industry. Only some movies and TV series that caught his eye, or some large-scale international events, could invite him to help shoot. It was impossible to spend money on such a person. The only way was to perfect the script and let him see their sincerity so that he would be willing to help them film. The first person Su Yiyin thought of was Yi Chiliang if she had to think of a senior who was related to the relevant departments. Yi Chiliang was a little confused when he received Su Yiyin's call. After the initial surprise, he was pure joy. "Sister Su, Professor Yi, I have something to ask you." Go ahead, go ahead. You don't have to be so polite with me." "Do you know director Luo Baogang?" Yi Chiliang was not sure why Su Yiyin was looking for Luo Baogang, but he still said truthfully, "I know. His wife and I were in the same school." We met a few times when we participated in some activities in the early years. Why are you asking about him out of the blue? Did something happen? Su Yin did not expect him to have such a relationship with Luo Baoging's wife. Her eyes lit up, and she simply explained the ins and outs of the matter. Yi Chuliang was a little angry after hearing it. Others did not know, but he knew very well that Su Yin was not only the person in charge of Dongsheng, but also the famous online food streamer Yin Yin. If Su Yin had not mentioned Wen Jingping, he would not have had much of an impression of her. Now that Su Yin mentioned her, the old master remembered that he had accidentally seen Su Yin's live stream recording from the student's side. Coincidentally, someone had deliberately slandered Su Yin for plagiarizing her work and imitating her live broadcast. This caused her fans and a group of anti-fans to run to Su Yin's live broadcast room to curse. At that time, Yi Chuliang could not stand it and even put in a good word for Su Yi on the internet, forming a good relationship. At that time, he did not know about the grudge between Su Yin and this girl. He only thought that this woman was full of lies. Later, because of some things that happened on the internet, Yi Chuliang learned about the grudge between Su Yin and this girl and her boyfriend. At the same time, he sighed in his heart that someone was really blind. He did not want such a good girl like Su Yin and chose such a liar. Well, in the younger words, green tea. Yes, it was green tea. He didn't want a good girl, but he insisted on this kind of green tea. If his own son was 10 years younger, he would definitely let him chase after Su Yin. At the same time, he felt that Su Yin had started this live broadcast because she could not take this lying down. She was deliberately making things difficult for Wen Jingping. Thinking about it this way, he should be grateful to this scumbag of 3 catalysts. They allowed Su Yin to walk in front of the public and prove how outstanding she was. This sounded sarcastic, but it was also the truth. Of course, this did not prevent Yi Chuliang's impression of her from falling to the bottom. Later, he happened to see the news that Wen Jingping had harmed the trainees in the same group in order to advance to the next level. She had even framed her friends who were kind to her. He increasingly felt that this girl was not only selfish at such a young age, but she was also very ruthless. She was a two-faced and ruthless person. Now that he heard about Su Yin, Yi Chuliang's first reaction was, her management company poached the director of your company's new drama? On purpose? Chapter 583. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it's a fact that he left. Now, we can only hope to find a new director. Moreover, I'm worried that this matter will be used by someone with ulterior motives to attack our company's confidence. Yi Chuliang nodded understandingly. If a famous director couldn't stay and an unknown director was found, not only would the artists feel uncomfortable, but the audience would also be confused. Why couldn't a famous director stay? Could it be that there was something wrong with this drama? If this topic was really led on, Su Yin's drama would be at a disadvantage before it even started shooting. How about this? I'll find my university class monitor and see if he has Luo Baoging's phone number. Then I'll have to trouble you. After hanging up, Su Yin let out a sigh of relief. She was a little worried about how to get out of this situation. Did he make trouble for you? How did you know? Su Yin looked at Hua Chenhuan, who had appeared behind her without her noticing, in surprise. Hua Chenhuan held her hand and chuckled. How could I not know about such a big thing? Su Yin snorted and was a little unhappy. They openly poached the director I had my eyes on and asked him to direct a drama starring Wen Jingping. This is a deliberate provocation. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed coldly. It's really too much. What are you going to do? I want to find a better director than him to slap their faces. Do you have someone in mind? Su Yin's bright eyes dimmed, but it's hard to invite that person. You want to find Luo Baogong? Su Yin was stunned. How do you know? Did her man put a bug in her head? How did he know everything she was thinking? I asked him to ask someone in your company. Someone in my company? Su Yin was stunned. It seemed that only she and Xia Junsheng knew about this. So Zui Yinbai asked Xia Junsheng, you want him to direct the drama your company invested in? Yes. Su Yin nodded. I just asked Professor Yi, hoping to get lucky. I didn't expect Director Luo's wife to be his schoolmate. He was just going to ask his class monitor, maybe he can contact Madame Luo. After Su Yin finished speaking, she saw Hua Chenhuan staring at her. Her expression was unexpectedly serious. For some reason, she suddenly felt a little guilty. What's wrong? You promised me before that you would ask me for help if anything happened, and not anyone else. Su Yin, was this guy jealous of something like this? Cough. It's not that I don't want to tell you, but I heard from Brother Junsheng that this Director Luo is not old. Professor Yi is old and has a lot of connections. I want to ask him if he has any connections. I've already asked someone to contact Director Luo. Let's visit him together tomorrow. Su Yin was stunned. You've already asked someone to contact him. How do you have Director Luo's contact information? Director Luo's wife's mother used to be my mother's vocal music teacher. Before my mother was alive, they were very close sisters. Although I'm not very familiar with their family, they should be willing to meet us for my mother's sake. Su Yin's eyes widened. She didn't expect that the so-called backdoor entry was by her side. There was no need to find someone else. Hua Chenhuan was amused by her stunned look. She reached out and tapped her nose, smiling. Are you still looking for someone else? Chapter 584. Su Yin was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what Hua Chenhuan meant. She hurriedly hugged his arm and said with a flattering smile, I won't look for you. With such a powerful husband, why would I look for someone else? I'll look for you. Hua Chenhuan could not help but laugh. He enjoyed his wife's flattery with a clear conscience. I heard that the TV series you were rejected is about ancient opera. How is the script? Have you read it? I've read it. The script is good. She didn't want to fool them because it was good. The original author, the crew, and the actors had put in a lot of effort. In the end, it was better not to make a movie. Hua Chenhuan thought for a while and comforted her. Bring the script with you. They'll agree. Su Yin looked at him in confusion. She didn't understand why he was so sure. The surprise and confusion lasted until the next morning when they set out to find Director Luo. How can you be so sure that he'll agree? Director Luo has a bad temper, but he loves his wife very much. Basically, he'll listen to his wife. Huh? Weren't they filming? Why did they suddenly talk about Director Luo's love for his wife? Director Luo's wife is a famous vocal artist, and she's very knowledgeable about opera. She should be very interested in the theme of your TV series. Su Yin was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what Hua Chenhuan meant. You mean, as long as I can get Rao Luo's support, Director Luo will be willing to take on this TV series? Yes. Su Yin's eyes lit up. She was more confident about this trip. Hua Chenhuan saw the change in her expression, and the corners of his mouth rose a little. It was almost noon at the Luo family's house. The old couple lived in a simple and unadorned apartment building. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Luo Baogang opened the door. Director Luo looked very serious, just like the rumors said. His eyebrows were raised at the end, and he was the kind of person who looked dignified without being angry. He was stunned when he saw the two of them. After a while, he seemed to have thought of something and asked in a low voice, Are you here to look for Ling Hua? Luo Baogang's wife's surname was Song, and her name was Ling Hua. Yes, I'm Xie Jingyi's son. I'm here to see Annie Song. Hearing that he was looking for his wife, Luo Baogang's expression softened a little. He stepped aside and said, Come in. As soon as the two of them entered the house, a gentle voice came from inside. Old Luo, who is it? It's Jingyi. She's here to look for you. Jingyi's child? As soon as the voice fell, an elegant old lady wearing a light gray cheongsam walked out of the room. According to Hua Chenhuan, the old lady should be in her 60s or 70s. However, time seemed to be especially kind to this old lady. Although it could be seen from her appearance that she was indeed old, her gentle and elegant temperament could make people ignore her age, and their eyes unconsciously moved with her. I remember. Song Linghua looked up and down at Hua Chenhuan. She smiled and said, You're Jingyi's son, right? You called yesterday. Look at my memory. The older I get, the more useless I become. Then, She saw Su Yiyin beside Hua Chenhuan. She asked doubtfully. Hua Chenhuan held Su Yiyin's hand and said, "This is my wife." Su Yiyin was also clever. She hurriedly said, "Hello, Auntie Song." "Hello, Uncle Luo." Chapter 585. The children of the two elders were already married and did not live with them. It was rare for the younger generation to take the initiative to come to them, so Aunt Song was very happy. "Hey, don't just stand there. Come and sit down." Song Linhua and Hua Chenhuan's mother used to be very close sisters, but after they got married, especially after they had children, they gradually lost contact with each other. Even when Hua Chenhuan's parents died in an accident, Song Linhua only learned about it after a long time. "We were quite surprised when we suddenly found out about your parents from a senior. We didn't expect such good people to die so early." "Okay, let's not talk about this." Luo Baoging saw that his wife was sad, so he frowned and reminded her in a low voice, "The children are still here." Song Linhua just remembered that Hua Chenhuan was the most upset about the death of her parents, so she hurriedly changed the topic. "You've grown up and have your own family. In the future, live well." "Okay." Hua Chenhuan looked at Song Linhua's gentle eyes, which were somewhat similar to her mother's, and responded. Then she went straight to the point. "Actually, we took the liberty to disturb you today because we have something we need Uncle Luo's help with." Luo Baoging was slightly stunned. "You need my help?" "Yes." Seeing that Hua Chenhuan had spoken, Su Yiyin also told the truth. "To tell you the truth, I have an entertainment company that recently received a new script. It's about ancient Chinese opera." As soon as she said this, the two elders were stunned, especially Song Linhua, whose eyes quickly lit up. "This drama is a big IP that our company is promoting. The plot is rigorous, and the background is grand." Before Su Yiyin could finish, Luo Baoging interrupted her and at the same time exposed her true thoughts. "You want me to direct this drama?" "Yes." "Sorry, I haven't taken on this kind of work for a long time." Su Yiyin knew that this would not be easy to pass, and he was already mentally prepared to be rejected. Therefore, he wasn't too flustered. Instead, he took out the first draft of the script that he had prepared beforehand and handed it to the two of them. He pleaded, "Please don't be in such a hurry to refuse. I brought the script over. Please take a look. If you're not satisfied with it, we won't force you." Luo Baoging did not take it. His eyebrows were tightly knitted as if he was about to explode in anger. When Song Linhua saw this, she opened her mouth and was about to persuade him when the doorbell suddenly rang. The sudden noise broke the delicate atmosphere in the room. Song Linhua pushed Luo Baoging to open the door. Luo Baoging reluctantly got up. As soon as he walked out, Song Linhua said to Su Yiyin and air rang, "My family's old man has always been straightforward. Please don't mind him. As for the problem of acting, he's old and hasn't done this for many years. You should find someone else." Auntie Song. Su Yiyin still wanted to persuade her, but suddenly there was a cheerful shout from outside. "Grandma Song, my mom asked me to bring some fruits for you and Grandpa Luo. Hey, do you have guests in your house?" Su Yiyin and the others looked in the direction of the voice and saw a round-faced girl carrying a bag of things excitedly walking in from outside. Seeing the two strangers in the room, the girl stopped and looked at them curiously. "You're here." Song Linhua smiled faintly and waved at the girl, asking her to come over. "You're here. Why are you carrying things again? We haven't finished the bag of pears you brought over before." Chapter 586. When Xian Ningxi heard her words, she immediately shifted her attention away from Su Yayin and Grandpa Luo. She said earnestly, "The air is getting hotter and hotter, so it's easy to get heaty. You and Grandpa Luo have to eat more pears. My mom asked me to bring some apples and grapes over this time. They're all newly cultivated by my uncle. They're pollution-free and especially sweet. You eat first. If you like them, I'll send some more." Song Linhua held the fruit that Xian Ningxi forced in her hand. She was moved and helpless. Your uncle worked so hard to grow these fruits. Just let him sell them. Why does he keep sending them to us? How much does this bag cost? I've been with you before. There are only two of us. We can't eat much. It's a waste to send so much. These days, the price of fruit was several times more expensive than natural ingredients. Ordinary people might not be able to afford it. Xiaoningshi's family was not rich, but they could often eat these fresh seasonal fruits. It was because her uncle contracted a very large orchard and would send them some from time to time. Xianingshi's home and the two old people's homes happened to be on the upper and lower floors. The two families had a very good relationship. The old people almost watched Xianingshi grow up. Luo Baoging's children and grandchildren were not around. Looking at Xianingshi, who was about the same age as their grandchildren, they unconsciously transferred part of their love for their grandchildren to her. Even Xianingshi's previous transfer problem was helped by them. For this reason, Xianingshi's parents also appreciated their love and help for Xianingshi. Over the years, as long as Xianingshi's family had something good, they would basically give them a share. Xianingshi listened to Song Linghua's words and smiled. If you're worried about wasting, hurry up and eat more. Otherwise, it'll be a real waste if it goes bad. You child, Song Linghua glared at her. Don't send us these next time. We won't accept it. Xianingshi smiled and did not answer. Anyway, she would accept it this time. She naturally had a way next time. Since you're here, don't leave. I'll ask your Grandpa Luo to make your favorite meat buns. Your Grandpa Luo's cooking is a family heirloom. I don't make it often at home. You're in luck today. Xianingshi was going to leave after delivering the things. Hearing her words, she sat back silently. Really? I'll have to give it a good taste. After that, she turned her attention back to Su Yiyin and Song Yinxian. Grandma Song, these two are. I was the one who spared the child. Song Linghua gave a simple explanation and sighed. If you're here for this matter, then I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Old Luo really can't accept your script. My wife is right. Old Luo packed his things and walked in. When he heard his wife's words, he immediately agreed. I really don't plan to take on any scripts right now. Let alone a TV series. I won't even accept a movie now. Su Yiyin looked troubled. Uncle Luo, we really have no other choice, so we came to you. If you're worried about your health, you can rest assured. Filming is one thing, but we'll definitely put your health first. We expect the shooting time of this drama to be relatively long, but the shooting task is relatively small. You won't be tired. Chapter 587. In addition, we can also provide you with a private doctor to check your body every time. Su Yiyin had spent a lot of money to invite this old director. If it was an ordinary director, he would have already agreed. Unfortunately, Luo Baoging was not an ordinary director. No matter how she showered him with flowers, he remained unmoved. Xianingshi sat silently in the background and listened to the conversation. She could roughly guess why these two strangers came to Luo Baoging. Over the years, there were many people who came to ask Luo Baoging to film. Su Yiyin was not the first. Xianingshi had seen them a few times and was already used to it. However, when her gaze accidentally swept over the script that was still on the table, especially when she saw the two big words "Red Dancer" on the top of the script, Xianingshi, Luo Baoging was really stubborn. Su Yiyin had offered a lot of conditions, but they did not move him. She was really a little depressed. She was hesitating whether she should stop here today and visit another time. She did not believe that 3 visits to the thatched cottage could not move him. If he could not be moved again, she would look around. Su Yiyin had already made up her mind to fight Luo Baoging to the death. Unexpectedly, in the next second, she saw the girl sitting opposite them, who looked like she was quite liked by the two old people, suddenly stand up. This script! Xianingshi did not care about being rude. She reached out, pressed the script on the table, and flipped through it in front of all the people. Then, with a somewhat ugly expression, she questioned the two of them. Who are you? Why is this script here? Xianingshi's first reaction was that her script had been stolen. She looked at Su Yiyin and Rao with more caution. Su Yin was completely confused by this sudden accident. After a while, she said, "This is a drama that my company invested in. The script is naturally in my hands. Is there a problem? A drama that your company invested in? Then aren't you my boss in name? Are you here today to ask Grandpa Luo to help you film this drama?" Although Su Yin felt that this person was a little strange, he still answered truthfully, "Yes." "But hasn't the director already been chosen for this drama? Why did you suddenly change people?" Su Yin's eyes were slightly cold. She looked at Rao with a guarded expression. "How do you know that this drama has already decided on a director? She's the original author of this drama." Hua Chenhuan's sudden words had successfully frightened everyone present. Su Yin's eyes narrowed slightly. She looked at the strange girl in disbelief. After a while, she spat out a sentence with difficulty. "Xia has Ningxi?" "Huh?" The expression on Xia Ningxi's face suddenly froze. "How do you know my online name?" Su Yin. "Fine, I'm sure it's true." Song Linghua felt like they were talking in riddles. She looked at them and finally couldn't help but ask, "What's going on? You know each other? Also, this script was written by she, then you." Xia Ningxi suddenly showed a guilty expression. She didn't know why, but when she was asked this question, she suddenly showed a guilty expression. She said fawningly, "Grandma Song." Actually, Grandma Song saw through her at a glance. She put on a stern face to scare her. "Don't play dumb with me. If you confess, I'll be lenient. If you refuse, you won't be able to eat meat buns today." Su Yin. What kind of punishment was this? Xia Ningxi. Thunderbolt from the clear sky, no? QEQ. Chapter 588. In short, that's it. Xia Ningxi spent about 5 minutes to briefly explain the whole story. The two elders were surprised and sighed. "You mean you wrote a book online and an entertainment company took a fancy to it? Now, they're going to adapt it into a TV series?" Xia Ningxi blushed slightly and nodded. "Is that entertainment company?" "That's right, it's my company." The two elders were silent. After a while, Luo Baoging asked again, Did you find another director before this drama?" "Yes." "Who did you find?" "Pan Yuan." Luo Baoging seemed to have some impression of this name. He frowned and said, "Then why are you looking for me now?" He stood us up. "Stood you up?" "Everything was discussed, and we were just short of signing the contract. However, I suddenly decided not to direct the drama the day before the contract was signed." Luo Baoging wasn't a young man who hadn't seen the world. He could tell that there was something fishy going on. What was the reason? The reason for his verbal refusal was that the intensity of the filming was too high. He was old and couldn't keep up. This sounded ridiculous. If he was really worried about this, he wouldn't have been on good terms with her from the beginning. He only went back on his word when the contract was signed. Luo Baoging sneered and continued to ask, "What's the real reason?" He took on another drama. That drama happens to be the same genre as ours. Moreover, it's a drama that my rival company invested in. The female lead in the drama is a death burden that I've been holding grudges against for a long time. A death enemy that has been holding grudges for a long time? Could it be? Xia Ningxi didn't recognize Su Yiyin and her husband at first. Now that she calmed down and took a look, weren't these two people President Su and her husband, who had caused a stir on the internet before? A long grudge, a death enemy, and a woman. Xia Ningxi's first thought was a certain third party. Su Yiyin smiled at her and didn't say anything. However, Xia Ningxi already had an answer. Her eyes darkened and her expression was a little ugly. It was not only because of her own efforts, but also because of certain someone's despicable methods. Luo Baoging saw the change in Xia Ningxi's expression and narrowed his eyes. "You knew our relationship with she before you came?" Su Yiyin was stunned. Without thinking, she said, "No, I don't know." But she wasn't sure if Hua Chenhuan also didn't know. Luo Baoging obviously thought the same. He did not doubt Su Yiyin's words and only looked at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan neither admitted nor denied it. In a way, she had already given the answer. Luo Baoging's face darkened slightly, but he didn't ask any more questions. Song Linghua had already put on her presbyopic glasses. She took the script from Xiaoningshi's hand and read it. After a while, she seemed to have found something. She said with a stern face, You confused Qingyi with Hua Dan again. How many times have you followed her? You still can't remember. Xiaoningshi stood in front of Song Linghua with a bitter face. She was like a student who was not serious about her studies and was called to the office by the head teacher to be criticized. The reason why she was so excited when she saw the script on the table was that she was afraid that Song Linghua would read the script and correct her mistakes. One had to know that the days when she learned opera from Song Linghua were her happiest and most torturous days. So much so that she didn't dare to mention to anyone that she had learned from Song Linghua. She only dared to secretly fantasize about it. Chapter 589. But now, the script that she had secretly used for YY was being played in front of the main character. It was tantamount to a public execution. Xiaoningshi stood on the side and listened to Song Linghua pick out the mistakes one by one. Her head was getting lower and lower, and she wished she could dig a hole and bury herself. Su Yiyin found it interesting and tried to smooth things over. This script is only the first draft. It was written in a hurry, so it's inevitable that it's rough. When the preparatory work is done, I believe that Sister Xia will improve this script and won't make such a professional mistake again. Xiaoningshi's eyes were slightly bright, and she looked at Su Yiyin gratefully. Song Linghua listened to her and stopped scolding Xiaoningshi. She looked at the script in her hand and smiled. The story is quite interesting, but this professional knowledge needs to be improved. Xiaoningshi smiled. She was embarrassed, but also a little happy. She felt that her efforts were recognized by the people she cared about. Su Yin's eyes turned, and she reacted quickly. Don't we have professional knowledge? Me? Yes, if you are willing, we would like to invite you to be a special consultant for this drama. You will be responsible for correcting the loopholes in our professional knowledge and creating a rigorous and good-looking TV series. Su Yin could see that she was a little shaken. She smiled and took advantage of the victory to pursue. Do you like this script? This script is good. It's good that you like it. Director Luo is a director and has filmed many movies and TV series. As his partner, you should know that although there are many TV series now, there are very few that talk about ancient Earth culture. Even if there are, most of them are just sheep's head and dog meat. From what you just corrected, Sister Xia, I can tell that you are a very rigorous and passionate person. Since you like it so much, you must want more people to understand it and even inherit it. And I believe that this script should be able to do that. Su Yin's words really poked Song Linghua. She showed some hesitation on her face. Luo Baoging had seen through her thoughts. He snorted but didn't say anything, because he also knew that if this drama was really like Su Yin's, Song Linghua would definitely be happy if it could affect some people. Su Yin saw that he just snorted and didn't say anything else, and his heart settled down. She glanced back and forth between Song Linghua and Xiaoningshi a few times and suddenly realized something. She smiled and said, Also, didn't Annie Song realize that the female lead in this movie is actually quite similar to you? As soon as Su Yiyin said that, everyone present was stunned. Song Linghua looked at Xiaoningshi in surprise. Really? Xiaoningshi faced everyone's probing eyes and said with a face full of embarrassment, There is such a thing. The female lead is indeed more similar to you in all aspects. Before she could finish, Luo Baoging interrupted. Where's the male lead? Who is the male lead based on? Xiaoningshi, Song Linghua. Cough, of course it was you. You and Grandma Song are like an immortal couple. How could I bear to separate the two of you? And in this world, other than you, who else is worthy of Grandma Song? It must be written together. Su Yiyin. If she remembered correctly, the ending of this script seemed to be a tragedy. This girl is lying through her teeth. Aren't you afraid that you will be beaten when you are found out? Chapter 590. Luo Baoging finally looked better after hearing Xiaoningshi's flattery. He replied proudly, "That's more like it." Su Yiyin. He was jealous of this kind of thing. It seemed that he really loved his wife. Song Linghua blushed at her old man's teasing. She patted him reproachfully and scolded him with a smile. "You're not serious." Luo Baoging snorted and was a little unhappy. "So what if I'm not serious? Don't tell me you want to date another man." Song Linghua choked. She was angry and amused at the same time. "The children are all here. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? What are you laughing at?" Luo Baoging glanced at Su Yiyin and the others warningly. The smiles on Su Yiyin and the others' faces suddenly froze. She coughed softly and said, "It's not a joke. You have such a good relationship. We can't wait to envy you. How can we laugh at you?" Luo Baoging was satisfied. "Okay, you don't have to flatter us. I could take on this show, but you have to ensure that the investment is in place. I have to choose the actors myself. Of course, I believe in the artists of our company." She made this show for a win-win situation. But if the actors themselves were not capable, no matter how good the script and the cast were, it would be useless. Luo Baoging glanced at her indifferently. "I'll decide whether it's possible or not." He would not relax the standards just because the person was from her company. Then Annie Song's consultant, Luo Baoging, glared at her. "Good girl, you want to buy one, get one free." "Director Luo, you're wrong. We sincerely want to invite Annie Song to be the consultant. How can it be buy one, get one free? Moreover, I see that you two have a good relationship. Director Luo, if you go out to work, you will have less time to accompany Annie Song. But if Annie Song can also help in the crew, you two can meet and be together, right?" Luo Baoging's angry face suddenly froze. He frowned thoughtfully. Seeing him waver, Su Yiyin looked up at Xian Ningxi with a smile. Xian Ningxi blinked. She didn't understand why Su Yiyin was looking at her at this time. However, considering that everything Su Yiyin was doing now was for her own filming, Xian Ningxi gritted her teeth and helped to persuade him. "Grandpa Luo, this sister has a point. You and Grandma Song are always together. I'm afraid you won't be used to being apart. Moreover, a man who is serious about his work is the most handsome. You don't want Grandma to see how you work? Who knows, I might be able to find a feeling of being young again." As soon as Xian Ningxi's words came out, Luo Baoging didn't say anything, but Song Linghua had already pinched her first. "This girl, what's with the beard coat?" "What?" Xian Ningxi didn't feel any pain, but she still cried out exaggeratedly. She quickly went around to the other side and hid behind the sofa. "How is this a jacket? It's clearly the truth." Luo Baoging was completely persuaded. He murmured, "Let's go together. It's good." Song Linghua almost laughed. Although she was a little tempted, it was obvious that these young people were coaxing him. This guy was convinced in a few words. Song Linghua was depressed, but she still agreed. "Then let's go together." Chapter 591. As soon as Song Linghua agreed, Su Yiyin was overjoyed. She took out the contract she had prepared and handed it to Luo Baoging. She said with a smile, "Since it's settled, let's sign the contract quickly, shall we?" Luo Baoging stared at her. "You've even prepared the contract?" Su Yiyin didn't feel guilty at all. She smiled and said, "Isn't it because I learned a lesson from the past, so I'm more careful in doing things? How can I be the same as those guys who break their promises?" Yes. You're definitely different from him, but we still have to sign it. In this way, we can both feel at ease, right?" Luo Baoging rolled his eyes at her and snorted coldly. "You're so impatient. Those who don't know will think that you want me to sign a contract to sell myself." Su Yiyin. From a certain point of view, there seemed to be nothing wrong with this statement. Luo Baoging finally signed the contract with Su Yiyin, but he was a little dissatisfied. "Why did you only prepare one contract?" Su Yiyin thought that before they came, they didn't expect that there was such a treasure hidden in his home. "One contract is enough. You've signed it. Do you think I'm afraid that Aunt Song will run away? I'll ask someone to send the other contract tomorrow." As soon as Su Yiyin said this, Luo Baoging became more depressed. He always felt that he had fallen into a trap. After signing the contract, Luo Baoging really didn't like the two of them, so he didn't ask them to stay for lunch. It just so happened that the two of them didn't want to stay for the meal, so they quickly went out. Until they got into the car, Su Yin couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. She couldn't believe that she had actually invited director Luo. I didn't expect it to be so smooth. I thought it would take at least several trips. Hua Chenhuan heard this and reached out to touch her head. She smiled and said, "You're lucky. You don't have to do so much." Did you already know the relationship between Xian Ningxi and the two elders? Yes. Hua Chenhuan didn't hide it. When Xiao Yang and the others were investigating yesterday, they happened to find out about this girl's relationship with him. At that time, he was also a little surprised when he received the information. Perhaps some things in this world were really destined to happen. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? No wonder you were so sure yesterday that as long as I brought the script over, I would definitely be able to invite director Luo. But how did you know that she would come today? What if? There's no what if. Hua Chenhuan's eyes were deep, and there was a certain indifference between her brows. If she doesn't want to go, then get someone to create an opportunity to force her to go. This was also the reason why Hua Chenhuan didn't talk much during the whole process and only let Su Yiyin talk to Luo Baoging. Luo Baoging was, after all, a veteran director who had been in the entertainment industry for many years. He had never thought that he could hide his tricks from him. The reason why he dared to do this was that he cared about his wife. Although Luo Baoging wouldn't fall out with them because of this, the feeling of being schemed against wouldn't be any better. If he had spoken just now, it would have aroused the disgust of the other party and made this cooperation go into an unknown direction. On the contrary, Su Yiyin, who was kept in the dark and didn't know anything, could make him feel calmer. However, before our people had time to act, she went over by herself, which saved a lot of trouble. According to his plan, Xian Ningxi's appearance should be a little later. Her early appearance meant that the people he sent out hadn't had time to act before she came to the door by herself. Su Yiyin pondered and sighed. What a coincidence. It's better to be destined than a coincidence. Chapter 592. Destined? Su Yiyin blinked and was a little confused. Why? That girl learned opera from Annie's song for a while before this, so she has some foundation. Su Yiyin was stunned for a moment and seemed to understand something. Her eyes lit up. You mean that she thought of writing this book because she learned opera from Annie's song? And because she wrote this book, if we want to put her on the TV screen, we have to find some professionals to help us. These professionals are Annie Song and director Luo. Sometimes things in this world were so wonderful. After going around in circles, they might come back to the beginning in the end. How did you know that the script was based on Annie's song? Su Yiyin was a little proud when she heard this. I've read the script from beginning to end. I've read it all. So, in a later part of the script, the heroine wanted to pass on the opera, so she found a 13 or 14-year-old female apprentice. This female apprentice was a little stupid and was often scolded by the heroine. The words in the script were almost exactly the same as what Annie's song scolded Sister Xia just now. I see. So you suspect that the heroine was based on Annie's song, and the female apprentice was herself? I just guessed. I didn't expect it to be right. Su Yiyin said happily. Fortunately, she was the one who wrote the book. Fortunately, she wrote Annie's song. Otherwise, I don't know how to persuade director Luo to take this TV series. As a wife slave who always put his wife first, Luo Baoging couldn't let others direct a TV series based on his wife. Xian Ningxi's approach was almost putting a ready-made weapon in her hands, so Su Yiyin had no choice but to win director Luo. That's why I think you're lucky. Su Yiyin hugged Hua Chenhuan's waist and smiled. I hope this good luck will continue. It will. Hua Chenhuan hugged the person in her arms tightly, but her thoughts drifted to Xian Ningxi's words not long ago. Are men who work hard really more handsome? Hua Chenhuan's heart skipped a beat when she recalled Su Yiyin's serious expression during the live broadcast. It seemed that he was indeed very charming. Then should he also? Su Yiyin didn't know what Hua Chenhuan was thinking. The first thing she did when she got home was to call Xia Junsheng. She told him that she had already convinced director Luo to sign the contract for Red Singer and asked him to draft another contract and send it to Song Linghua. Xia Junsheng did not expect Su Yiyin to sign director Luo so quickly. After the initial shock, he immediately got someone to draft another contract and invited Song Linghua to be a professional consultant for the drama. The next morning, Xia Junsheng rushed to the Luo family with the contract. After the dust settled on the director's matter, Hai Yi, or more accurately, Wen Jingping, also made some noise as expected. Wen Jingping was about to star in a TV series called The Empress, which was a period drama that Hai Yi would focus on investing in the next 6 months. The drama began marketing 2 months ago, and the director had not been decided yet. Almost all the new stars in the entertainment industry were speculating about the male and female leads, even some well-known actors. 3 days after Su Yiyin's visit to Luo Baogang, Hai Yi announced that Pan Yu would be directing their company's annual drama. A strong alliance. Please look forward to it. Chapter 593. Usually, the official start of a TV drama project would start with the confirmation of the director and scriptwriter. However, most of the time, this segment did not generate much discussion. What really raised the popularity of the crew was the auditions and the confirmation of the male and female leads. Only then would it attract the attention and discussion of the audience. This drama was no exception. Hai Yi's sudden announcement that Pan Yuan would be directing Empress did not attract much attention at first. Only a small portion of the audience who had heard of Pan Yuan's name exclaimed, "I'm filming a new drama again. I'm looking forward to it." But soon, a portion of the media began to painstakingly lead the topic to Dong Cheng. Previously, when Xia Junsheng personally visited Pan Yuan to discuss a collaboration, he was photographed by some media. At that time, some people guessed that Pan Yuan was going to collaborate with Dong Cheng to star a new drama. Since the collaboration went smoothly when the two were lacking, Dong Cheng's people thought that this matter was in the bag and did not spend much effort to suppress this news. Unexpectedly, it was dug up and became an important piece of evidence for the internet VIPs to use against him. Did I remember wrongly? Didn't the media say that I was going to direct Dong Cheng's new drama, Red Dancer? Why did I suddenly go to direct Hai Yi's drama? Coupled with the media's previous news of Xia Junsheng entering and exiting Dong Cheng's studio, it quickly attracted some attention. Many people knew that it was impossible for a director to direct 2 dramas at the same time in a short period of time, especially 2 historical dramas that required a long time to prepare. Red Dancer and Empress were both dramas set in ancient times. Since they were in the same genre, it was easy to compare them. In the eyes of the audience, the producers of both dramas had approached Pan Yuan, hoping that he would direct their own dramas. However, in the end, Pan Yuan chose Empress and gave up on Red Dancer. What did this mean? It meant that in Pan Yuan's eyes, Empress was more valuable than Red Dancer. Although everyone had their own preferences, everyone had a herd mentality. If he wanted to choose, he would choose the best. As for what was the best, many people had their own standards for this best. However, in the eyes of others, the one that most people thought was the best had its own reasons. At least, it was better than the other dramas in the same genre. This little point might be the key to most people's choice. It was the same for watching TV series. How many people would be willing to watch or pay attention to a TV series that had been rejected from the very beginning and deemed as a shackle? After that, the fake reviewers began to take action, consciously guiding the passers-by and the audience to think in this direction. While praising Empress, they did not forget to step on Red Brave. The script hadn't even been released yet, and the actors hadn't been confirmed yet. Hearing the confident tone of these people, it was as if they were certain that Queen would definitely be a hit and Dancing Red would definitely flop. As soon as Pan Yuan went back on his word and went to Hai Yi, Dong Cheng had been on guard against this. As soon as the matter came out, it was immediately reported to Su Yiyin. Su Yin looked at the familiar marketing strategy of trampling on one, and the corners of his lips curled up into a mocking arc. He sneered and said, "Sure enough, it's here. Don't be angry. You're not the one who should be angry." Su Yin snorted coldly. She was both angry and relieved. Luckily, I knew something was wrong when I heard that stupid director went to High E and quickly found director Luo to save a day. Otherwise, wouldn't I have become their stepping stone for nothing? Chapter 594. Although they could use Luo Baoging to slap them in the face, it was also a fact that they were being trampled on. The popularity of the two dramas had been brought up. The only difference was that if they didn't fight back, their reputation would be at a disadvantage at the beginning. If they fought back, they would be forced to fight in the ring in the future. The loser was destined to be nailed to the pillar of shame. Luo Baoging's status in the circle is much higher than mine. They want to use my influence to belittle the quality of a TV series. In the end, they will only bring shame to themselves. Hu Chenwan's words made Su Yin's face a little better, but that was not what she was really worried about. Do you think Wen Jingping's acting can really improve in a short time and take on the role of the female lead of this drama? Hu Chenwan looked at her deeply and said with a faint smile, "You shouldn't ask me this question. You should ask yourself." Su Yin was stunned. "Ask me?" That woman followed Hua Xiaofeng to make trouble for you several times. Almost every time, she was acting. Do you think her acting is good? Of course, Su Yin didn't think Wen Jingping's acting was good. Every time she appeared, she was weak and pretended to be wronged, as if others were bullying her. But if you looked carefully, you would find that her eyes were full of jealousy and resentment. When she looked at Hua Xiaofeng, she would occasionally show an impatient and compromising look. Obviously, she didn't like him as much as she said. Only a guy like Hua Xiaofeng, who felt so good about himself, believed in her so-called deep feelings without a doubt. He never thought that he would be cuckolded. Even if she really worked hard and her acting skills improved by leaps and bounds in a short time, this drama is not so easy to act in. Su Yin turned to look at him in confusion. She didn't seem to understand what he meant. Yin Yin, she's just a newcomer with no acting resume before, but she got the resources that many people dreamed of. Su Yin's eyes lit up as he understood. In her and Do Yi's eyes, the Empress may be a high-end custom-made show for her. But in the eyes of the other artists in High E, especially those who were much more senior than Wen Jingping was just a person who relied on Do Yi to steal the company's key resources. Those resources that even the experienced and capable seniors couldn't get. Why should a newcomer like her, who had nothing, occupy them? Regardless of the profession, the sudden appearance of a player from nowhere was bound to attract jealousy. Even if they didn't dare to do anything to her on the surface out of consideration for her backer's face, they still had to do something behind her back to make her life difficult. A few important roles in their drama have already been confirmed. Most of them are already famous artists. High Entertainment had indeed put in a lot of effort to promote Wen Jingping. For this reason, they did not hesitate to pull in a bunch of famous artists to create buzz and send her to a high debut. But they forgot that if an actor wanted to attract fans and be liked by people, he didn't have to be the protagonist. Character design and acting skills were indispensable. They gathered these artists together to gain popularity. But if Wen Jingping's strength was not as good as theirs, and her acting skills were not good enough, she could be set off by a group of big bosses at any time. Moreover, this group of outstanding actors who could take on a drama independently were forced by the company to be the supporting roles for a person with connections. Did they really have no complaints in their hearts? If there were complaints, it was easy to get into trouble. Once something went wrong, it was unknown how far their drama could go. Chapter 595. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yin's shining eyes and added with a smile, "I heard that the second female lead in this drama was originally Hai Yi's most favored female artist." Su Yin was stunned for a moment. then suddenly laughed out loud, letting a famous flower be a supporting actress for an unknown newcomer. What are they thinking? Who knows? Maybe Hai Yi's higher-ups lost their minds. Su Yayin was amused by the internet slang that popped out of nowhere. Yes, yes, yes. He has indeed lost his mind. But thinking about it carefully, maybe it wasn't just a problem of losing their minds. It was very likely that someone was influenced by Wen Jingping's female lead halo. One had to know that in the original novel, which one of the backup male leads wasn't a young talent with both good looks and talent. Such a person could shine anywhere. Even if the process was a bit bumpy, in the end, they would definitely climb to the top and shine brightly. But when they met Wen Jingping, these outstanding talent from all walks of life suddenly collectively lost their minds and became bootlickers. In the end, they licked until they had nothing left, completely becoming stepping stones for the male and female leads to the peak of life. After Su Yin finished laughing, she touched her chin and thought, I don't know what the second female lead's personality is like. Is her temper good? Hua Chenhua knew what she was thinking and smiled faintly. The second female lead's personality is more fiery, and her temper isn't very good. More fiery? How fiery? Will she cause trouble for Wen Jingping? Hua Chenhua looked at his wife's excited appearance and couldn't help but reach out and scratch her nose. Even if she doesn't, we can create an opportunity for her to do so. Like Wen Jingping, who came in through the back door, many people didn't like her. Even if they didn't want to do anything to her, with a little instigation, they might become hostile towards her. After all, no one could escape from psychological imbalance. The competition in the business world is never just on the surface. She's too impatient. There is a saying in the Book of Changes, if one's virtue does not match his position, there will be disasters. If Wen Jingping had some self-awareness, she wouldn't have made such a big deal as soon as she entered the company. Instead, she would have started from some supporting roles to accumulate some experience. At the same time, she would have given the people in the company some buffer time. Perhaps this matter wouldn't have become as big as it was now. But this person was so ambitious. He had already taken the resources that everyone in the company was envious of, and he might not even have the ability to match it. Don't be fooled by the fact that the show was being marketed so well. If the acting skills were not up to par, there would definitely be a backlash. And if there was a backlash, Hai Yi, who had invested a lot of money to help her get to the top, would also be implicated. At that time, even if Hai Yi is Do Yi's boss, wouldn't those senior executives be dissatisfied? Su Yin thought about it seriously for a while. He had to admit that he was far inferior to Hua Chenhuan when it came to tricking people. It's easy to cause trouble for Hai Yi. The problem is how to protect our people. Su Yin's heart suddenly thumped. Are you worried that they will do something to our company's people? We can sow discord among their people. Do you think we can kill them with a borrowed knife? Why don't they secretly play tricks and deliberately disturb your crew's shooting? Moreover, Luo Baoging is not old. If something happens during the shooting, your crew will have to bear the responsibility and consequences. Su Yin's eyes narrowed. Do you mean they may do something to Director Luo? Chapter 596. Hu Chenhuan looked at Su Yin's pale face. He frowned and comforted her. It's just a guess. It may not happen. Su Yin shook her head. She agreed with Hua Chenhuan's guess. No, your worry is not unreasonable. According to Do Yi's character in the original novel, he would do anything to achieve his goal. It was really possible that he would do such a thing. If he really wants to do something to Director Luo, should we? The two elders were invited by them. If they were really involved in the competition between the two companies and got hurt, she was afraid that she would spend the rest of her life in guilt. Don't worry. As long as they don't have a chance to do anything, the early shooting of this drama will take at least 2 or 3 months. The roles haven't been decided yet, so the shooting won't start so soon. Before that, I will send people to protect them. When the shooting officially starts, the two of them will be old. It will be too tiring for the crew to travel between home and home. So, they will simply stay in the hotel that the company has prepared for them. Hua Chenhuan paused. My uncle's hotels are all over the country. When the time comes, I will ask them to check the security carefully. I won't let anything happen to them. Your uncle? Su Yin was surprised. You have an uncle? She had stayed with Hua Chenhuan for half a year in her previous life. No matter how difficult it was, she had never heard him mention any uncle. Hua Chenhuan pursed his lips and didn't say anything. Su Yin could see that he didn't want to know. Although she was curious, she didn't ask again. Since they are trustworthy people, then let's do it. I will contact Director Luo first and make a statement together. Okay. Su Yin moved quickly. After she roughly explained to Luo Baogang what had happened, she personally made the statement. Huan's Su Suvi, thank you for the invitation. The director of the new drama has been decided. Thank you for Director Luo Baogang's participation. In the future, we will work together to achieve a satisfactory result. Not long after, Luo Baogang quickly reposted and replied to Su Yin's post. Let's work hard together. As soon as the interaction between the two was posted, it immediately attracted the attention of the media from all walks of life. Suddenly announcing the director at this time? Was he trying to ride on the popularity of the neighboring movie, Empress? It's the company's CEO who's doing it personally. This lousy company is indeed lousy. If you don't have a brain, then read more books. Otherwise, you'll become a joke on the internet. Although Dongsheng isn't a big company, they're rich, and they have a big director like Director Luo. Do you think they'll be interested in your lousy drama and the popularity of your lousy director? I'm thinking, could it be that a certain company and a certain drama series are so shameless that they're trying to stir up popularity in Dongsheng City? They're even dissing the new drama for being so bad that even the famous director doesn't like it? What's wrong? Now that she's distancing herself from the director, she's turning around and scolding me for using you to create hype? It was really a case of a thief crying out to be a thief. Who was the one pulling who to speculate? Don't you have any idea? What kind of unknown director is this? I've never heard of him before. Did Dongxing Entertainment just randomly find a nameless director to take over the project? It looks like this new drama is going to flop. I'm laughing. In this day and age, there's actually director Luo Baogang, who's an unknown director. Oh my God, let me laugh for a while. How can laughing for a while be enough? You have to laugh 3 times. If you don't have any knowledge in your stomach, don't learn to be a keyboard warrior on the internet. Not only will you be annoying, but you'll also expose your short-sightedness and embarrass your parents. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.